If there ever was a need for a fresh start, it exists for the Cincinnati Reds, who come back home tonight after a very unsuccessful weekend in Pittsburgh. The Reds open a homestand 3 with the Los Angeles Dodgers here on the banks of the Ohio River and Great American Ballpark. Cincinnati looking to snap a 5-game losing streak. Thanks for joining us tonight here on Fox Sports Ohio. Paul Keels and former Reds pitcher Chris Welsh. And let's hope the home cooking does some good for the Reds, Chris.
Well, they were certainly bad on the road. They could have lost all 7 games on the road. They did win their first 2 in extra innings in their last at bat. But here they are home again, but they're facing some nemesis here from the Western Division of the National League that over the past few years they haven't played very well against. Let's take a look at what they've done against the NL West. 25-40. That is a winning percentage of .385. Against Los Angeles, they're particularly bad at 2-12. Against the Central, they're holding their own. Against the East, they're holding their own. So a lot of the woes are caused by the Reds when they either host a Western Division team or they actually go out to California and play one of those Western Division teams. But they've got them in town tonight. Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers, and they're not playing the greatest baseball either. So this is a matchup of a couple of different ball clubs that are trying to get off the schneid.
Yes, they are. It's the Reds and the Dodgers. Homer Bailey hoping to stop the skid here tonight at Great America. Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high definition, courtesy of H.H. Gregg. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark, the start of a 3-game series. The Reds and the Dodgers. Time to check the elements out and what to expect tonight. Time now for WKRC meteorologist Tim Hedrick.
Weather looks pretty good tonight. 64 degrees at the first pitch, 59 degrees by 9 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, we're talking 54 degrees. For the Dodgers series, the weather looks wonderful. But when the Padres come to town, the weather could get stormy. Now back to the game.
In the spirit of things, Homer Bailey will be given the ball on the mound tonight, Chris.
Well, Homer Bailey is looking for his first win like every other one of those starting pitchers in the Reds rotation. He's pitched a couple of times out there. 10 innings overall for Homer Bailey. The thing that disturbs me about Homer is the fact that he is getting hit at an alarming rate. He's thrown a lot of pitches. He's averaging almost 22 pitches per inning out there. So he's not going to go deep into a ball game as long as he continues to walk batters and pitch around the strike zone. But we've seen Homer good and bad. Hot and cold last year, 6-1 for the last part of the season. Early in 2010, he's not been able to carry it over. He's got great stuff, a good arm. A lot of scouts will take that any day. Good stuff every fifth day out there will win you some ball games. Let's hope he keeps it down in the zone and keeps the Reds in the ball game this evening.
Native Ohioan Chad Billingsley will be the starter for the Dodgers. First pitch from Great American. Coming up next. Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline three-way or cheese coatings. Be it ever so humble, it is good to be home. And the Reds are hoping the home cooking will turn the tide as they try and break a 5-game losing streak, hosting the Dodgers from Los Angeles.
And I think the main thing for the Reds, they had an off day yesterday, able to regroup mentally before they take on this Dodgers starting rotation. Rafael Furcal, whether he wears a Braves hat or a Dodgers hat, he always seems to kill the Reds. Matt Kemp, Andre Ethier, Manny Ramirez, of course, in the four-spot, James Loney, Casey Blake, Blake DeWitt, Russell Martin, and Chad Billingsley, the right-hander, on the mound tonight for Joe Torre's crew.
And Homer Bailey trying to get the first winning decision by a Red starter in the season. First pitch into the dirt. Homer Bailey's last outing, a 5-3 loss at Florida. You get a look at his cumulative numbers in the young 2010 season.
6 walks in 10 innings. That right away jumps out at me that this guy is a little bit wild outside the strike zone and wild inside the strike zone. So he's throwing a lot of hittable pitches. Not that one right there for Cal. Breaks his bat and he gets the first batter on board. But overall, Homer Bailey needs to, relax a little bit and start pecking around the outside corner and the inside corner. That one pretty much right down the heart of the dish.
Sawed him right off and broke his lumbar. So Rafael Furcal at first base. We'll get a chance to check out the Reds' defensive alignment as Matt Kemp will stand in now. Off to a pretty good start himself, Matt Kemp, the Dodgers center fielder. This is the first of 2 trips that the Dodgers will make into Cincinnati. Way back in the day, it used to be 3 and 3. 3 with LA coming here. 3 trips for the Reds out to the West Coast. The Dodgers ended their weekend homestand with a victory over the Giants on Sunday. Manny Ramirez, a pinch hit home run, the 2nd of his career. The first came against the Reds.
Yeah, that was a very faithful Manny bobblehead night. Excuse me if that sounds redundant, but it was.
Yes, point made. Kemp 1 base hit in 3 at-bats on Sunday against the Giants. Bailey pitches him inside.
And you like to pitch him inside because ever since Matt Kemp broke on the scene as a Dodger on a full-time basis, you really go back to 2007. Part of the year that year, he hit .342. The following year, his, I guess, freshman plus year, hit .290. Last year, hit .297. He has grown into be one of the most great offensive forces in this league.
And comes into this game tonight with an 8-game hitting streak going.
Last year drove in more than 100 runs, had 26 home runs, and here he is batting in the number 2 spot in the order.
He will be followed by Andre Ethier. The cleanup spot is occupied by the aforementioned Manny Ramirez. Furcal led the game off with a broken bat base hit to shallow center. Count even at 1-1 to Kemp. Mentioned Homer Bailey's last outing against Florida. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, and also allowed 2 homers to the Marlins. Count 2-1 here in the top of the first inning. The Reds and the Dodgers. The first of 3 consecutive night games tomorrow night. And then an unusual Thursday evening game rather than an afternoon matinee. Of course, for the Dodgers, this is the start of a road trip. It takes them from here to both Washington, D.C. and to New York City. Two-one pitch to Matt Kemp. Furcal is going. And that ball busted foul into the seats.
Well, you can tell by the pitch and the swing of that last offering by Homer Bailey. He's got pretty good fastball tonight. It's up at 92 on the radar gun here at the ballpark. But Kemp really, even though he's looking for a fastball in that count, don't know if it was a hit and run or what, but he really gets tied up on that ball. A little bit late, so Homer Bailey now not even as far inside that you'd like to get off this guy. He's got kind of a long swing, but still he can get to the fastball if you leave it over the dish. When I say come inside, you come off the plate.
Furcal going again from first base. Swing and a miss. Throw. Furcal manages to get in under the tag, but Kemp retired on a swinging 3rd strike. Time to take a look at our 4 defensive alignment for the Reds tonight here at Great American Ballpark. Drew Stubbs in center field. But take a look who's in the lineup at third base tonight. Scott Rowland missed the entire Pittsburgh series because of back problems. So the one out here, Andre Ethier, the Dodger right fielder. Scott Rowland's bat was missed, especially when you consider the 2 of the 3 starts the Pirates threw to left-handers up there. Ethier in his career hitless in 4 at-bats against Homer Bailey. .438 his number with runners in scoring position, though. Two for 3 on Sunday in the Dodger win over the Giants. Count 2-1 in favor of the batter. So Furcal hanging out at second base after getting his 5th steal of the young season. There's the dangerous one on deck.
Now, right now, Homer Bailey's able to throw his fastball pretty close to where he wants to, but his breaking ball, he's throwing what pitching coaches will say uphill. He's getting way out over his front leg, but his arm is lagging behind. He's kind of casting that ball. It's kind of rolling up there. Actually, fortunately for him, they're not finding the strike zone because a rolling breaking ball is very hittable.
strike when one was badly needed.
And hitters sense this. I mean, they're watching them from the Dodger dugout. You're watching them from the third base coach, from the on-deck circle. You're seeing what the pitcher has on a particular night. You know the scouting report. You've seen him on video. You may have even faced him before. But on a particular night, if he's not getting a certain pitch over, it certainly makes it a lot easier to get along with.
Bailey hoping to get one over here, and he does to the tune of a foul. That was maybe not necessarily over, crowded him in.
Well, you know what? It's close enough, I think, that Homer Bailey will have that ball that's kind of sneak up on you. That's why sometimes the radar gun is so deceptive that it doesn't really show how a ball comes out of a pitcher's hand. Some guys throw it and it looks exactly as hard as they throw it. Other guys throw it and it sneaks up on you. I think Homer has late life on his fastball, but eventually he's going to have to stay stubborn with his other stuff enough to be able to work that in.
After falling behind 3-0, count full. Ball 4.
Well, he went with a changeup right there of some type anyway, because that was an 85-mile-an-hour pitch. So you walk a guy in the inning, give up a broken bat, and you come up with Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez on Sunday, pinch hit against the Giants, and he hit a home run. It was the 548th of his career, tying him for 14th in the all-time home run list with Dayton native Mike Schmidt. Here's a look at what Manny Ramirez has done this season to date. He is a lightning rod of a figure. His talent is unmistakable. His antics, they get him a lot of attention too. For a call with a base hit and a stolen base. A walk to Andre Ethier. And Homer Bailey looking at a little bit of early trouble with a dangerous man at the plate, Manny Ramirez. Count even at 1-1.
You know, Manny Ramirez is a guy that if you watch him from a pitching standpoint, you think, man, oh man, he takes a lot of pitches right down the middle, but he's a very smart hitter. Despite all his antics, as you mentioned, Paul, this guy knows what he's talking about, and what he does in the batter's box, he comes up with a plan, looking for a certain pitch at a certain time.
This one popped to right field. Jay Bruce will back on it for the second out of the inning, and Bruce, with a respected arm, gets the ball in to keep for call from advancing to third, so Ramirez retired. And he probably, Chris, doesn't get as much credit for being the bad ball hitter that he is.
Well, bad ball is one thing when you get 2 strikes on you, but what he'll do in a particular at bat is he'll see what the pitcher sequence is. He'll have a pretty good idea that he's looking for one pitch in that at bat. It might be a breaking ball, it might be a fastball, it might be a pitch down and away, and he'll say, everybody will say, wow, how could he ever hit that pitch? What a great hitter. Well, he's I guess, selective enough that he doesn't get himself out very much on pitches he's not looking for until late in the count. He was looking for a fastball to go the other way that time, just didn't get around on it quite enough.
James Loney, the 2-out hitter, the Dodger first baseman. A late sub into the game on Sunday, no official at bat. As Ronnie Belliard spent time both at first and second. Bailey with a first pitch strike. No score, top of the first for the Dodgers. With a threat with 2 men on. 1 pitch. Count goes to 1-1. Only a .324 batting average with 1 home run. For a call at second. Ethier at first. 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Casey Blake on deck. Homer Bailey charged with trying to get the Reds to break a 5-game losing streak. Lost all 3 this weekend in Pittsburgh to the Pirates. And lost the last 2 in Florida against the Marlins. Right-hander out of Texas, 2-1 the count. It's him. Homer Bailey comes into this game with a 12-14 career record, a career ERA of .552. But Chris, as you said, he finished 2009 pretty strong.
Well, he really did. In fact, the last 6 weeks of the season last year, you could argue that Homer Bailey was one of the better pitchers in all of baseball.
Won the last National League Player of the Week award. Homer Bailey did. First couple of years ago, everybody couldn't wait to get him up here. Count full with 2 out and 2 on for the Dodgers here in the top of the first inning. And Loney looks at ball 4 to load the bases. Second walk of the inning.
Well, one of the things we talked about in the open was the inefficiency of Reds pitchers this year. I mean, especially the starting rotation. They're just throwing so many pitches out there. Homer comes into this ball game especially inefficient, averaging 21.4 pitches per inning. That was his 22nd pitch already in this inning. Now, when you're a starting pitcher, though, in the first inning, you don't care what your pitch count is. You're just trying to get out of this inning with no damage, especially more so now than ever with the bases full and a very tough Casey Blake at the plate.
Dodger third baseman, as tough as he has been in his lengthy career, 0 for 9.
Well, he's got a short swing, and he can break out of a slump at any time. You see, he's got still a .324 batting average.
Came over a couple of years ago in a trading deadline trade from the Cleveland Indians. Nibbled the outside corner.
Yeah, they're trying to stay away from Blake because he does have that short swing and is able to get the bat head on an inside fastball. Of course, like any major leaguer, the more of the same pitch you throw him in a row, the more dangerous it becomes.
1-1 pitch outside. Blake wore the collar on Sunday, 0 for 3.
Well, he's got a 2-1 count right here, Bailey does, and this is essential that he thinks, all right, what's my best pitch? I'm going to throw my best pitch in the best part of the zone I possibly can right here. Do not want to run the count 3-1.
Gets advantage on a foul ball there.
You know, even when they know fastball's coming, you got to figure Casey Blake is thinking, all right, he threw me 2 fastballs, he missed with a breaking ball, he's got to come back with a fastball. He doesn't want to go 3 balls count with the bases loaded in the first inning. So I'm looking for a heater right here. Even though Blake is looking for one, he gets one, and he's still late on it. That's how live Homer Bailey stuff is.
Blake with runners in scoring position, 5 for 13. As we move into week number 3 of the 2010 season. Krause.
Well, this is where you really do not want to get if you're a pitcher. You want to get that decision on a 3-2 count, even more so when bases are loaded and 2 outs. So now all the runners are going to be off and running. Even James Loney at first base might possibly score on a long double.
So with the bases full and 2 out, payoff pitch. Bailey to Blake, left center field, and that one is going to get 1 run in, 2 runs in, possibly a third as Blake motors to second, and a 3-run double for the Dodger third baseman, Casey Blake.
Well, you're 1 pitch out away from getting out of the inning, and you're 1 pitch away from giving up a 3 spot. And that's what happens right here. He goes up and pretty much right over the center of the plate right here. Homer Bailey does, and Casey Blake has a good swing at it. He's a good high ball hitter, good fastball hitter, and he lines it in the gap. And because all the runners were off with the pitch, even from first base, James Loney, that last runner, was able to come around and score and make it a 3-0 Dodger lead.
Well, on Sunday, we saw the big hit that the Pirates had in that game was a 3-run double by Jason Jaramillo. And that's what happened right here on the top of the first inning. Quick visit by Brian Price, the pitching coach. So the Reds found themselves early on trying to play catch-up. Those first 2 games in Pittsburgh, it was the Pirates scoring in the first inning to gain early advantage.
You know, I don't think there's ever been a pitcher that's just towed the mound that has not gone out there in the first inning and felt maybe too strong. And it looks like Bailey's that way tonight. He just has not been able to find a good release point on his breaking ball. But if you keep going to the fastball every time, you're eventually going to get hit.
Blake DeWitt, who starts at second base tonight. So the Dodgers can load up that left side of the plate against a right-hander. Casey Blake out at second after a 3-run double to put the Dodgers ahead by a 3-0 score.
How many times have you seen a matchup of DeWitt versus DeWitt? Homer Bailey's real name is David DeWitt Bailey. And, of course, you have Blake R. DeWitt, the hitter.
You never cease to amaze me. The things you come up with.
Well, the things that you can find on the internet if you've got nothing to do.
Oh, no, you're getting all the credit for that one, baby. DeWitt is a pinch runner on Sunday. Scored a run in the Dodgers' victory over the Giants. Comes in hitting .290 and a pair of homers. Cabrera fields a funny hop, guns to first, inning over. But the Dodgers score 3 on a 3-run double by Casey Blake. 3-0 Los Angeles. Cincinnati, the Reds get their first crack at Chad Billingsley. Here's the Cincinnati batting order. Scott Rowland back there in the number 5 spot. Jay Bruce, after 2 homers, hitting 6th. Johnny Gomes, the number 7 man. So Drew Stubbs, for the 2nd straight game in the leadoff spot, will be the first to face Defiance, Ohio native Chad Billingsley.
Well, the right-hander's had a pretty good run of it since he was drafted in the 1st round. In fact, the matchup tonight of a couple of former first-rounders. Bailey, of course, a first-round pick by the Reds, and Billingsley, a first-round pick by the Dodgers in 2003.
First pitch strike.
And he's had a pretty good run of it. In 3 years as a major leaguer, Billingsley suddenly has gotten himself to a position of being 48-30, 18 games over 500 already. And when he's at his best, what you'll see is him keep that ball down around the knees. He's got a nice moving fastball, a heavy sinker, and a hammer of a curveball. But he's not had a whole lot of success with that curveball so far this season. In fact, he seems to have, in his first couple of starts, running into the same problem that Homer Bailey has, kind of jumping at the hitters a little bit, arm lagging on the breaking ball, kind of rolling up there instead of snapping off.
His last outing, a no-decision game in a Dodger loss to Arizona. 2-1 the count to Drew Stubbs. In the hole for call. Shows off that strong arm. 1 down. Take a look at the forward defensive alignment for the Los Angeles Dodgers. You saw the play that for call made in the middle of the infield. James Loney, who has started to make a name for himself defensively at first base, and Russell Martin, who's been an all-star behind the plate. Orlando Cabrera, the one-out hitter. There's a look at Manny Ramirez out in left field. He at times gets knocked for his defense out there, but at times he'll jump up and surprise you with some of the plays he'll make. Cabrera, an 8-game hitting streak coming into this game. He's been a consistent bright spot in the Reds offense.
Well, that was the reason that Walt Jocketty went out and signed a contract with Orlando Cabrera. They needed some offense on this ball club. They needed it from the shortstop spot, and so far so good for Orlando.
7 hits and 5 RBIs in the just completed road trip, and a home run down in Florida against the Marlins. On Sunday, Orlando with a base hit and an RBI in 3 at-bats in Pittsburgh. And a called strike as Cabrera tried to spin away from what he thought was something a little too tight inside. Casey Blake with a 3-run double in the top of the first to give LA the 3-0 lead that you see up there in the top left-hand corner of your TV set. Cabrera to be followed by Joey Votto. And should one of them reach, cleanup hitter Brandon Phillips. Very nice night for baseball here at Great American Ballpark.
That might be the understatement of the day. This is about as beautiful evening as you can have for baseball. A crowd that continues to build a little bit. I don't think we're going to have a huge crowd tonight, but it was very sparse at the beginning of the game. But they've come a little bit late and realized, hey, not a bad place to spend the evening.
Just like LA, fashionably late. Of course, after the last 2 days in Pittsburgh, it was a little cold. Imagine Jim Day may have thawed out by now. Or even the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. He turned into a popsicle Saturday night. Payoff pitch, Cabrera. Gives for call, another try at short. 2 down. Both plays 6-3. Well, some bad news for the Reds today. As business started to commence here at the ballpark, word that Edinson Volquez has been suspended 50 games for testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Now, the suspension will begin tomorrow. This suspension can be served while Volquez is on the disabled list.
So really from a performance standpoint, I don't mean performance-enhancing standpoint, I mean him getting on the field, really doesn't mean a lot because they don't expect Edinson Volquez to be back from Tommy John surgery, which he had in, late July, early August last year, until about a year from the time he had surgery. So you're looking at August, maybe even a little bit later than that. It will cost him some money.
Yes, about a third of his salary. Votto to left field. Manny Ramirez, who had to serve that type of suspension last year, catches it for the 3rd out of the inning. Dodgers with a 3-0 lead after 1 complete here in Cincinnati. To the National League Championship Series last year. They've had to replace some parts, add a few others. A little retooling with their pitching staff. And really, a lot of the question about the Dodgers is really kind of from an uncommon area regarding baseball teams, and it deals with the ownership. Russell Martin to lead the inning off for Los Angeles. Phillips chases it down on the right side of the infield. 1 out. This is why this guy is a Gold Glove caliber player. Won it 2 years ago, and as you said, Chris, on opening night, could have been argued that he should have won it last year.
Well, I think a lot of people thought that. Certainly when we went on the Reds Caravan, I was on the leg that Brandon Phillips accompanied us with, and everybody we talked to, of course you're in Reds country and not in Phillies country, but certainly a lot of people thought that Brandon Phillips played well enough with his glove to earn another Gold Glove award. He'll be there again.
That was the rock star tour of the Caravan, wasn't it?
Don't mistake that.
Chad Billingsley, the 1-out hitter. There's a look at what he's done this season. Chad Billingsley in the Defiance High School Hall of Fame up toward Northeast Ohio. You mentioned the ownership situation with the Dodgers. Frank McCourt, the owner, is in the midst of a divorce, and his soon-to-be ex-wife is arguing that she is an equal partner in the ownership of the baseball team. And that's what's kind of cast a pall over the higher levels of the operation of this franchise right now. Does it trickle down to the dugout? Yeah, you wouldn't think so in most cases, but this is kind of soap opera-ish. Homer Bailey with a strike. Gave up 3 in the first inning. A couple of walks hurt the cause, and then Casey Blake, a 3-run double. You know,
I think that the distraction with the McCourt divorce really extends as far as the media bothering the players with it. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Quite frankly, the guys on the field don't think anything about it. Neither does Joe Torre. It doesn't affect them, except, you know, whether there isn't as much money to be had for a player come trading deadline time. You need to improve your ball club, and the Dodgers have always been big spenders. Well, they're actually beginning to reduce their payroll this year, less this year than last year.
You just don't know where that comes into play. So Chad Billingsley looks at a third strike, the second strikeout that Homer Bailey has pitched to L.A. Back to the top of the order, and Rafael Furcal. When he first came up with the Braves, he was so adept at those running punch bunts where he would just lay it past the pitcher's mound. The ball would almost deaden in the grass, and he'd get infield hits out of it.
We'd also see him flip the ball. You'd bring the third baseman in, you know, with a fake bunt, and then you'd be able to like flip it over his head, almost like a tennis player, you know, with a lob shot. He was a magician with the bat, very speedy player, great arm.
He's had in the last couple of years to fight through some injuries. He's in an 0-2 hole. Maybe in his younger days, one of the best arms has been around at shortstop in the last 15-20 years.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Count 0-2 with 2 out. Chops it at the plate. That's a fair ball. Hernandez gets the third out. Reds retire the Dodgers in order. 3-0. Los Angeles. We move to the bottom of the second.
the field, but let's take a look at it on paper as we compare the Dodger lineups with the Reds lineup this year. Current batting average so far this season. Now, you've only got about 50 plate appearances for everybody who plays on a regular basis, but you can see the Dodgers offensively off to a great start as far as being able to score runs. There still are 3 batters in the Reds lineup whose batting average start with 1. One of them, of course, the leadoff hitter, Drew Stubbs, tried to get him off the snide.
Brandon Phillips shoots one deep to left field, and Brandon Phillips has left the yard. That'll help some of those offensive numbers just for a bit. Brandon Phillips with home run number 2 on the year. The Reds on the board, trailing 3-1. And he went up there looking right away to jump on something.
And jumping on a first pitch heater is Brandon Phillips, a sinking fastball just around knee high. And boy, does he get the bat head through the zone. Good shot right there on our Exmo. Look at that home run swing by Brandon Phillips.
So 3-1 Reds on the short end. Scott Rowland back in the lineup for the first time since the Florida series. Brandon Phillips wore the collar Sunday in Pittsburgh, 0 for 4. In his last at-bat, looking at a third strike. Rowland shoots a base hit into left field. Welcome back, Scott Rowland. But they had some problems with the back that kept him out of the Pittsburgh series. Hey, Reds fans, if a player hits one of the Toyota signs in left or center field during tonight's game, Leon Silverman from Cincinnati will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. So Jay Bruce, who homered twice Sunday afternoon in Pittsburgh, a big cut and a miss. That base hit by Scott Rowland, by the way, snapped a 0 for last 10 at-bat slump. Some back problems as well as dealing with a little bit of the flu bug that was going around through the team over the weekend. It kept Rowland as a spectator. Jay Bruce tags one into right center field, and that'll be a base hit. And that one will get to the wall. Rowland will hit third. He's being waved home. Bruce is going to scoot all the way down to third base. And an RBI triple by Jay Bruce. 3-2, Reds down a run.
Well, Jay Bruce gets an 0-1 breaking ball fastball, making it one that was kind of running away from him, but it got up. And he's got plenty of plate coverage, and he hit the ball hard twice on Sunday with home runs, and he hits this one in the right center field gap, drives Scott Rowland all the way around, and all of a sudden now it's a one-run ball game.
Before the game, Dusty Baker was talking about how the encouragement was for batters to just keep continuing to try and hit the ball hard. Johnny Gomes against Billingsley as he digs in 3 for 3 with a home run. 3-2 Dodgers with a lead. And the Reds with nobody out have Jay Bruce down at third base. Johnny Gomes with a hit in 4 at-bats, scored a run, and was a strikeout victim Sunday. Base hit, center field, tie ball game. Some well-struck balls here in the second inning for the Reds.
Well, there's an old saying that you hear in youth and amateur baseball that you'll know it's a strike when you hear the crack of the bat. And every time that Chad Billingsley has thrown a fastball for a strike in this inning, it has been a loud crack of the bat, beginning with the first pitch home run by Brandon Phillips and ending with that base hit by Johnny Gomes that plates another one that ties it all up.
So Brandon Phillips led off the inning with a homer, a single by Rowland, an RBI triple by Bruce, Gomes with an RBI single, and Ramon Hernandez. We'll try and see if he can't get in on the fun. Chad Billingsley sailed right along in the first inning, but the Reds have come keyed up for those fastballs. Hernandez appeared in just one of the games in Pittsburgh. That was the Saturday night game. as Ryan Hannigan started on Friday and Sunday.
Well, that's the pitch right there, the curveball that Billingsley just misses with to Ramon Hernandez on the first pitch that he's been having problems with. And it's the same thing for Homer Bailey. However, tonight it seems like the difference is that Bailey's fastball not as hittable as Billingsley.
Of course, it seemed like Sunday the Reds didn't get a lot of looks at fastballs.
Well, it depends on who you're facing, obviously. And when you're facing a guy like Paul Maholm, he's going to mix it up on you. Zach Duke, also a left-hander with the Pirates, is going to mix it up quite a bit with you. You know, you're looking for what you think is going to be a fastball, and they throw you a changeup. But both these guys are really struggling with their breaking ball right now. And they're primarily power pitchers. They're young pitchers who are #1 draft picks, who are drafted on the strength of their arm and their stuff.
That home run that Brandon Phillips struck for, the second that's been given up by Billingsley on the year. 2-1 to the Reds catcher. Held up. Guessing fastball with a pitcher needing a strike here.
Well, you know what your best pitch is. You have to throw it for a strike.
Gomes a brief lead at first. Looks like whoever grabbed that foul ball came up okay.
You know, Chad Billingsley is being depended upon in this Dodger rotation to be one of these stalwarts that's going to give you a real good outing, a quality type start. Maybe 24, 25 times out of his 32 starts this year. He had a very good year a couple of years ago in 2008 when he rolled off 16 wins against only 10 losses. This pitch, a fastball, 3-1 count off the end of the bat right there. You can see the bat bend and crack. And Hernandez got a new one. I like that Exmo.
You missed it, didn't you? Full count, nobody out, runner on the move, foul. And Hernandez is a guy that has a penchant for going the other way.
Well, you know, he's got that little staying alive swing going. That's what that last one was. You know, like a throwback to the old days of the Bee Gees. Just trying to keep that bat alive.
We are disco children, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Now, Ramon's too young for that.
He is.
So we won't even drop it on him.
So his parents probably educated him on that. Count full, nobody out, runner at first. The Reds have tied the game with 3 here in the second. Base hit, Hernandez. Gomes will advance on to third base. So the hit parade continues for the Reds, who have tied the game at 3-3. And we want you to make sure you get your 2010 Reds team calendar this Friday, thanks to Kroger. This year's calendar features favorite Reds players like Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, and Jay Bruce. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Still nobody out. Chad Billingsley is going to get a visit out on the mound from his pitching coach, Rick Honeycutt.
Now, the former left-handed pitcher who was a Dodger for about 4 or 5 years in the mid-'80s, Rick Honeycutt, has been a pitching coach under Joe Torre for a couple of years, and he's got to be wondering what the heck is going on with Chad Billingsley. I mean, Billingsley seems to be elevating that fastball, and when he needs to throw it by somebody, he rears back and really tries to throw it by somebody. Sometimes taking off a little something off that pitch might work more to his advantage. That's what Honeycutt did naturally as a left-hander, kind of a soft thrower that used to change speeds and pitch like a Tommy Glavine type pitcher. But it's awfully hard sometimes for young pitchers to back off when everything they've done to get them here is to throw as hard as they can.
Wasn't Honeycutt part of that 1990 Oakland team the Reds beat in the World Series?
Yes, indeed he was.
We'll talk more about that great 1990 season a little later on. Homer Bailey with a nice bunt. Billingsley throws it by the first baseman. So another run will come in for the Reds. That'll certainly be an error on Billingsley. Another run will come, maybe. And some confusion created when Loney crossed in front of Billingsley as he picked up, fielded, and threw. They're going to send Hernandez back to third. They won't allow him in, so it'll be just 1 run to give the Reds the lead.
Well, this is all on Chad Billingsley, because if we take another look at it, the bunt is a good one by Homer Bailey. He gets it But watch Billingsley. He's going to look towards third. Nothing there. And he's going to realize, uh-oh, I'm so close to first base, I can't throw it. Should I shot put it? Should I underarm it? What should I do right here? And he tries to take something off of it. It goes over the first baseman's head, bounces into the stands. Second and third, and the Reds have scored 4 in the second.
So an error, a sacrifice, and an RBI for Homer Bailey, as the Reds take that 4-3 lead. Still nobody out here in the second inning for Drew Stubbs. Hernandez sent back to third base. Craziness. Stubbs bounce out to shortstop in his first at bat, bottom of the first inning. And Drew Stubbs looking to get off the interstate. Count 1-1, but the Reds have played it 4 here on the bottom of the second to supersede the 3 the Dodgers put up in the top of the first.
You know what you really hope for a young guy like Drew Stubbs, who's struggling mightily right now, that he doesn't get his confidence down. That's the big thing for him. He's got the talent, he's got the speed, he's always has the ability to drop a bunt down and break up an over. When you look up at that scoreboard, you see your batting average, you know, a couple weeks into the season, and it begins with 1. You know, you begin to press a little bit.
Hitless in his last 13. Count 3-1. Bailey at second. Hernandez at third. Strike on the outside corner. Stubbs bothered by a little bit of the back problems that seem to be going around within the past week. Count full on the Reds center fielder. Orlando Cabrera on deck. Swing and a miss. First out of the inning. First strikeout racked up by the Dodgers tonight.
Looked like a little cut fastball that on a 3-2 count Billingsley tries to go with, and it is. You can see that ball start middle of the plate and then move on Stubbs, moving away from him. Certainly hittable part of the strike zone. Stubbs just comes up empty.
So Orlando Cabrera with his second at bat of the night. He also in the first inning grounded out to short. Right field. Got it for the second out. Tagging is Hernandez. Advancing is Bailey. The Reds with a 2-run lead on a sacrifice fly by Orlando Cabrera. For Cabrera, that is RBI number 9. Bailey did a good job advancing from second to third on that.
He really did. He went back immediately upon that ball being struck by Cabrera and put himself in good shape to go to third base.
So the 9th batter of the inning, Joey Votto. Billingsley comes in a little too tight.
Where you talk about the emotional roller coaster that must have gone on in that Reds dugout. From the first inning on, when Bailey goes out and gives up a 3 spot to start the game off, Reds come up empty in the bottom of the first. You're thinking, uh-oh, hope Billingsley doesn't have his good stuff. Then they drop a 5 spot on Joe Torre and company here in the second, and they're still rolling.
Still rolling. Joey Votto with a 3-hit night Saturday night in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. Hitless on Sunday. 5-3 Reds. Bailey, the 2-out runner at third. He laid down a bunt, an error by Billingsley that allowed Bailey to get the second and allowed a run to come in, giving the Reds pitcher an RBI.
Yeah, right now, is Billingsley not only missing his spots, but he and Russell Martin are nowhere near on the same page. On a 2-0 count right there, had to take 4 shakes before he and Martin finally decided on a changeup.
The inning started with a Brandon Phillips homer, followed by a Roland single, an RBI triple by Jay Bruce, an RBI base hit by Johnny Gomes, a single by Hernandez, and then the error and sacrifice, an RBI by Bailey. And a sacrifice fly by Cabrera followed a strikeout by Drew Stubbs. Maybe Jay Bruce is starting to get warm. 2 homers Sunday. Pop fly. That is going to drop in left center field and bring another run in. Bailey scores. RBI Joey Votto. And the Reds have increased their lead to 6-3.
Well, Joe Torre's got to be scratching his head in amazement right here. They've hit him hard all inning long until this one. Somewhat of a bloop job by Joey Votto. Doesn't matter with a runner on third and 2 outs. You pick up a run batted in. 6 of them in the inning now for the Reds.
And it looks like there's some activity starting about in the Dodger bullpen. As Phillips, who led off this inning with a home run, will dig in from the right side. Wow.
Phone down there is probably ringing for 15 minutes. Nobody wants to answer it. Former Red Ramon Ortiz heating it up.
In case you were wondering, thanks, Daddy Wags, the last player to get 2 homers in an inning, Aaron Boone in 2002 against San Diego, and another former Red, Brett Tomko. Tomko still bouncing around. (6-3) Reds with a lead. Votto, who leads the club in stolen bases, 4 of them drawing the attention of Billingsley. Being held on by Loney at first. Oh, 0-2 pitch to the Reds second baseman.
Well, we were talking about Homer Bailey and his high pitch count in the first inning, where he threw 31 pitches. Now, still not out of the second inning. And Chad Billingsley, who had an easy 1-2-3 first, is now about to throw his 45th pitch.
Phillips takes the strike on the inside corner. That ends an inning, but a successful one for the Reds. 6 runs scored here in the bottom of the second. 6-3, the home team with a lead. (6-3) Reds with a lead over the Dodgers, scoring all 6 of those runs in the bottom of the second inning, excuse me. Time now for our Geico quote of the day, and it comes from Jay Bruce talking about going deep.
Well, hitting the ball hard and not going to somebody's gloves a little, way off my shoulders. But home runs, not really, because that's not my main focus. My main focus is just being a complete hitter and, hitting the ball where it's pitched and, just scoring runs and, helping my team win. But, it's always good to hit homers, but it's definitely not, the number one thing.
We had 2 of them Sunday in Pittsburgh, and then this evening here in Cincinnati, Jay Bruce cranks up a RBI triple.
Big inning right here for Homer Bailey. I mean, your team goes out there and drops a 6 spot on the opposition in the second inning. You've got the pitcher with his tail between his legs ready to run right there. And it's important for him to come right out there and start retiring hitters.
Good hitter being Matt Kemp. Brandon Phillips has that go off his glove. Sharply hit by Kemp. Base hit for Matt Kemp to reach first base. Jay Bruce, by the way, in his last 4 at-bats, 2 homers and that triple.
Well, Matt Kemp struck out the first time against Homer Bailey on a fastball. That time nearly undressed the Red second baseman with that wicked one-hopper out there. Brandon wishes he would have been able to corral that bad boy, but I'll tell you what, that ball was smoked. But you know what? That's the kind of play that Brandon Phillips prides himself on making. And he's going to kick himself more about not making that play than messing up on a routine play.
He's that kind of competitor. Third base hit of the night for the Dodgers. So Andre Ethier swinging and missing. Got a walk in the first inning. 1 of 2 that Homer Bailey gave up in that frame. This is a guy that continues to develop into an outstanding player in the Dodger organization. Kemp on the move. Hernandez with a throw. Got him. Even on a bounce, Cabrera fields it and gloves him out.
Well, you know, there is an old saying that says, when in doubt, slide. What happened right here with Matt Kemp at second base? I don't know. Maybe he thought it was a hit and run on. He didn't know where the ball was. But Cabrera gets a short hop play right there and is able to put the tag on him. You know, if you slide right there, chances are the umpire's going to call you safe, because that tag looked like it came either a second short or right about the same time he got to the bag. But when you don't go into second base sliding or in any base sliding, you're giving the umpire a reason to ring you up.
And it looked like he lost track of the ball. Whether it was hit, thrown by. Well, we saw on Saturday Ramon Hernandez gun down Andrew McCutchen of the Pirates on an outstanding throw from behind the plate. That was the first and to date the only time going into tonight the Pirates had a base stealer knocked off. Count 1-2 on Andre Ethier. 6-3 Reds with a lead. Cabrera. 2 out. He's almost starting to make some of those look easy. Well, guess who's coming to play? Chris, you got to think this is one of those guys, you love him if he's your teammate. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I better not put it that way.
Well, you know what? We are going to, later on in the game, I think, in our text poll, let our viewers decide whether you would like to have Manny on your team or not as a teammate. We'll get to that text poll later on. But he has put together some kind of major league career. There's no doubt about it. 548 home runs. He's 2 away from 1,800 runs batted in.
He just seems to leave the wake of bad feelings when he leaves teams like Cleveland and
Well,
Boston.
he does, yeah, you know, but that's maybe the way of modern day baseball.
Agreed. A lot of people think he really engineered his way out of Boston by just dogging it. Count 1-1 with 2 out. He is a guy that has fashioned himself a nice postseason career as well. The left field section out in Dodger Stadium dubbed Manny World. Manny Wood, Manny World, maybe both. A native of New York City, Manny Ramirez. Mentioned that his first career pinch hit home run came off the Reds and Nick Massett last year. His second came Sunday against the Dodgers. Swing and a miss. He was pinch hitting in that game last year because he had been hit the night before. The inning started with a Matt Kemp base hit, but then he was thrown out stealing. And Andre Ethier grounded out to short. Payoff pitch to Ramirez, ball 4. Here's his first career pinch hit home run.
That was the first pitch delivered, if I'm not mistaken, by Nick Masson. And the place erupted, first of all, when they brought Manny out of the dugout because they thought he was not able to play that night because of the aforementioned hit by pitch the night before. It was Manning bobblehead night. Place went nuts. When he hit that home run, I have never heard Dodger Stadium as loud as it was then.
Ramirez gets the third walk of the night, given up by Homer Bailey, who then fields a ground ball in front of the mound. He gets the third out of the inning and a polite bouncer by James Loney. Reds with a 6-3 lead over the Dodgers here at Great American Ballpark. Hey, Reds fans, come on down to O'Malley's Friday at 6. It's your chance to test your Reds knowledge and win some great prizes. Plus, you could end up on Reds Live after the game on Fox Sports Ohio. Be part of the fun at O'Malley's. Well, the second inning was a fun one for the Reds as they scored 6 times on 6 base hits. 6 of the 10 batters had RBIs, and it is a 6-3 Reds lead. Homer Bailey, one of the guys who got an RBI. Scott Rowland. Rowland pegs one. Left center field. Manny chasing back on the ball, and it is off the wall. Rowland will hit second base with a double.
A lot of players that have had bad backs before will tell you that it hurts less when you swing and hit the ball than when you swing and miss. Kind of like you at the golf game, Paul Keels. And Scott Rowland's had no pain at all today. A base hit in the left field his first time up, came around to score a run. And that double in left center field gap, boy, is this lineup a little bit different when you get number 27 back in there.
His first double of the year. 2 hits after having gone hitless in his previous 10 at-bats. Somebody's told you about that swinging and missing at the golf course. Huh?
How'd you know?
Oh, I know. Trust me. Jay Bruce with an RBI triple in the second inning. The second started with a solo homer from Brandon Phillips. So Chad Billingsley continues to be in a hot spot. Mentioned Bruce in his last 4 at-bats prior to this. 2 homers and a triple. There's that familiar flick of the wrist on the offhand. Count 1-1 on the Reds right fielder. Loney backing up on it. Flips to Billingsley, covered. Bruce is out, but advancing is rolling to third.
Yeah, good job by Jay Bruce right there. A strikeout kills you, kills your confidence. This way he makes it out, a productive out, moves that runner to third. Good teams play add-on, and Bruce's efforts right here of getting that Scott rolling over to third base should pay off. Yeah, you may wonder why Joe Torre doesn't have anybody up and loosening now in the Dodger bullpen. This is the first game of a 3-city road trip that the Dodgers have embarked upon. Of course, they had yesterday off. They'll go from here to Washington, then New York, then they'll go back to play the Pittsburgh Pirates. 13 games in a row without a day off. That can be taxing on your pitching staff, especially if you've got to dig in your bullpen in the early of the first game you play.
And they've already had some transaction movement regarding pitchers. Johnny Gomes, an RBI single in the second inning. Rolling at third, one out. Gomes pops one that should get rolling in. Kemp at the warning track. Rolling will tag. Bad back at all. Come on in. So an RBI for Johnny Gomes. And the Reds have their 7th run of the night. Chance to look at the Honda standings of the National League Central Division. You see what the weekend by the Pittsburgh Pirates did for them. Everybody still looking up at the St. Louis Cardinals. Ramon Hernandez, a base hit in that bonanza of a second inning. Houston down there at the bottom of the standings, they're waiting to get Berkman back. That hasn't helped their offense one bit. Hernandez just over the 200 mark. I mentioned that he played in only one of the 3 games in Pittsburgh over the weekend. On the entire road trip, 2 for 17 with an RBI. Center field. Kemp to make this play for the 3rd out, but the Reds add on. 7-3 Cincinnati after 3. Your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers, where you can register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Nice night at the ballpark. Nice night for a B&B riverboat cruise. And Within the white lines, it is a 7-3 Reds lead over the Dodgers as we roll into the top of the 4th inning. Homer Bailey, a rough first inning, but helped by the offense, which included his assistants at the plate as well. Bailey in that 6-run second inning laid down a bunt. An error committed by Billingsley allowed Bailey to reach and get an RBI. Casey Blake, the leadoff hitter.
You know, now suddenly it seems like Homer Bailey, and maybe it's the 7 runs the Reds have gotten him to kind of give him a boost, but he looks more relaxed out there. He doesn't look like he's jumping at the hitters. He's staying back over the rubber a lot more than he was in the first inning. You know, sometimes no matter what, but especially after you've had a couple of rough starts, you as a pitcher try to take everything under control, and you try to pitch a complete game in the first inning. And you're so excited and you have so much adrenaline going. I think that's what happened to Homer there in the first. He looks a little more relaxed right now.
Casey Blake looks at a strike.
Tell you what, if you can dot the I on the outside corner with that fastball in the low to mid 90s the way Homer is tonight, you're going to have some success at this level.
Hard one to reach successfully. Break-even pitch to the Dodger third baseman. Swing and a miss. So Blake goes down for the first out of the inning. That is the 3rd strikeout Homer Bailey has racked up on the night. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Who is the only player to record 50-plus saves for both the Reds and the Dodgers? Blake DeWitt, the batter. Jeff Shaw, maybe?
That would be a very good guess. Washington Courthouse's own
finest, Jeff Shaw. No other real good possibilities jumping up.
Well, Johnny Franco came from the Dodgers to the Reds. Of course, he didn't save. I don't think he saved anywhere close to 50 games.
I think that's why he came.
Dodgers, yeah. I think he may have been a minor leaguer when he was traded over.
You know, the other guys you think of, at least that I can think of right off the top of my head, were guys who were starters, Belcher and Leary, that had played for both teams.
And of course, you couldn't go back any further than that, because back in those days, as arch rivals, the Dodgers and the Reds were, they would never trade with each other.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine Tommy Lasorda ended up with, well, he would have liked half the Big Red Machine, no doubt.
Yeah, he or Smokey Alston, back when these teams were in the National League West. And when the Dodgers came to town, it was something. Back when they had that infield that seemed to be around forever of Garvey, Lopes, Say, and Russell. Dusty Baker was part of that outfield. 2-2 count. Blake DeWitt. Rolling. Comes charging at third base. Has to hurry. Not in time, as DeWitt will reach on the infield single.
Well, hustling yourself into a base hit. Blake DeWitt, batting from the left side, gets it right off the end of his bat, kind of a squibber. And you're not going to play it better than Roland does right there. He gets it, picks it up, throws it on the line. While the ball is rolling like this, he's going to glove it with his glove and then transfer it quickly to his right hand and then throw when his foot comes back on his right leg. Kind of an odd way to throw, but that's really the only way you're going to get anything on that slow roller throw to first base. Roland does it as well as anybody. Blake DeWitt just beats it out.
So Russell Martin, the catcher, at the plate. You know, that was amazing about some of those plays we saw Ronnie Cedeno make over the weekend. He made a number of those, Chris, without really getting his body behind the throw. The Pirate shortstop. Thought it was just all arm. Garrett Anderson is on deck for the Dodgers, ostensibly to pinch hit.
Well, you know, the Dodgers, even though they spend a lot of money every year, the one very impressive thing about their organization is that they continue to bring up great young players out of their own farm system. Just in tonight's lineup, you see Matt Kemp, 6th-round draft pick in 2003. First-round pick that year was at the lower part of your screen, and Chad Billingsley. Russell Martin, the current batter, 17th round in 2002.
Stubbs comes up on a fly to shallow center. Martin now on a short fly.
Blake DeWitt, who just had that infield hit, was a #1 rounder in 2004. James Loney, a #1 rounder in 2002. So this Dodgers lineup tonight peppered with their own homegrown products.
It'll be Reed Johnson to pinch hit rather than Garrett Anderson, who had been standing in the on-deck circle. So that's going to take care of the night for Chad Billingsley. Johnson, a veteran outfielder, the Cubs and the Blue Jays. So 3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned, a couple of strikeouts, and a home run given up by Billingsley. Reed Johnson steps in with a .273 batting average. You talk about those guys coming up from the Dodger farm system. Another one over in the first base coaching box that Reds fans would be familiar with, Mariano Duncan. Johnson with a pop fly in the infield. The Joey Votto will take care of. Inning over. 7-3. Reds with a lead here at home over the Dodgers. Gentleman you see in the middle of your picture, Rob Butcher, the Director of Media Relations for many years with the Cincinnati Reds, a participant in the Boston Marathon yesterday. There's a look at what Rob did.
Yeah, we got to congratulate Butch. I mean, this was his 3rd marathon of the year. He ran the Flying Pig. He also ran a marathon out in Arizona while the Reds are out there in spring training. Yesterday, a pace of 7:49 for Butch. Puffing and puffing on down the streets of Boston. Congratulations to Rob Butcher on that. If nothing else, in top shape.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Butch. We are very proud of you. Ramon Ortiz, the new pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's a look at what the former Red has done.
He pitched 30 games as a starter for the Reds. You got to go back to 2005, signed as a free agent then, Ramon Ortiz. Primarily an American League pitcher. He had pitched 5 seasons previous to that, or parts of 5 or 6 seasons with the Anaheim Angels. After he left the Reds, he went to Washington, Minnesota. Here he is with the Dodgers.
Homer Bailey bounces one that DeWitt can't come up with cleanly, and for the second time tonight, Homer Bailey reaches. This will be a single.
Homer Bailey trying to keep up with one other pitcher on this staff, Mike Leake, who currently is hitting .600. Homer puts a bat into play, kind of looks to left, hits it to right, and finds a little hole up the middle as Blake DeWitt can knock it down but not recover in time to get Bailey at first base.
Bailey in the second inning reached on an error by Billingsley and got an RBI on a sacrifice, and Billingsley sailed the ball past first base. Mike Leake, 3 base hits in his rookie season. Drew Stubbs to lead it off. I mentioned Ortiz, mainly an American League pitcher. Anaheim, Minnesota, a little bit with Colorado in 07, a little bit with Washington in 06. He has been around. Stubbs looking for his first base hit of the night. A ground out and a strikeout.
Yeah, you know, if you're Drew Stubbs, you look up at the scoreboard and you see, man, my team's got 7 runs and 8 hits. And what have I done? I've grounded out and struck out. Time for me to get on the hit wagon.
Join the party. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but he is hitless now in his last 13 at-bats. One of 4 batters who did not get an RBI for the Reds in that 6-run second inning.
Well, you know what happens when you become the second-year player, that the league begins to get a book on you. They know where you're good. They know where your weaknesses are. And right now they're beginning to exploit Stubbs. Trying to pitch him down and away, breaking ball after breaking ball until he makes the adjustment.
First couple of weeks ago, he gave the home fans a big thrill with that grand slam on a Friday night against the Chicago Cubs.
And he's got plenty of power. I mean, which makes him unique as far as home run or as leadoff hitters go. But he's got such blazing speed, you know, you hate to put him anywhere else in the order.
Full count with Bailey at first base. Back to Ortiz. This may be 2. For a call, has to double clutch, and it costs him. So that'll go 4-6. Now time for the AT&T trivia question of the night. 1-6, excuse me, is the fielding choice. 1-6. Who is the only player to record 50 or more saves with both the Reds and the Dodgers? Let us see if we guessed correctly. Yes, Jeff Shaw.
Of course, traded to the Dodgers moments after he signed a contract with the Reds, and where Jim Bowden promised him he would never be traded.
And when he was picked to be in the All-Star team, was going to represent the Reds, but ended up wearing a Dodger uniform.
Well, you're right. One of the all-time classiest young men that you will ever meet, Jeff Shaw. And a doggone good pitcher.
Cabrera has to dance away from a pitch coming inside. I understand that Jeff's doing a little coaching with some of his sons up in Washington Courthouse.
He's got some young sons that are very talented. I believe his oldest son, Travis, if I remember right, is at Bowling Green right now.
Strike to Cabrera.
If he hasn't already been drafted and signed, I have to check with my main man, Joe Bick, and get an update from him.
Joe Bick, super agent.
With a solid kick.
Of course, Scott Johnson, one of the ESPN director, producer type people up there in Washington Courthouse, palling around with Jeff Shaw. Stubbs drawing the attention of Ramon Ortiz. So Bailey out 1-6 for the first out of the inning.
Well, they've got a 4-run lead, but this is by no means a game that's out of hand right now. So Stubbs, if he thinks he can steal a base, is going to try to do it.
James Loney backing. And right near the bag, he'll gather it for the second out. That brings up Joey Votto. A base hit and an RBI and 2 at-bats. Joey out of the starting lineup Friday night in Pittsburgh. He was another who was dealing with a little bit of the flu, apparently a little bit of the back strain as well. Came in as a pinch hitter late in that game. There goes Stubbs. Martin's throw won't get him. Sails into center, and Stubbs will advance to third base. So a stolen base and an error.
You know, sometimes errors on catchers just are unfair, and this is the case where, you know, Rafael Furcal really could have come in on the grass, cut that ball off, kept the ball in the infield, but by trying to make the tag and the play at the same time, ends up seeing that ball go into center field. He's not going to put his arm down there to a sliding base runner, that's for certain. And Stubbs ends up on third.
Joey Votto. Deep right field, forget about it. 2 more in as Joey Votto goes deep. Cracks his 2nd homer of the season as the Reds throw 2 more on the board. A high fly to deep right field. 9-3 Redlegs.
Well, maybe all the Reds needed was a day off to go back home, get a little bit rested, take their minds off of baseball and that 3-game sweep at the hand of the Pirates, and come on back swinging the bats. And they've done exactly that tonight. Joey Votto on our Exmo. Hiya!
High and deep. 9-3. Reds with the lead.
Have a look at the swing by Joey Votto. Boy, this had a lot of air underneath it. I mean, it was high enough. You just wondered how deep it was going to be. And that baby, about 6 or 7 rows deep into the moon deck.
Home run number 2 on the season for Joey Votto.
How about this? 9 runs in the 4th inning already.
What was it? A total of 15 runs in the full series in Pittsburgh?
When this team came out of spring training, right?
Mm-hmm. Brandon Phillips, who started the hit parade off with a home run in the 2nd inning. Digs in with 2 out. And the base is clear. James Loney will get his 2nd fly ball of the inning. And in foul territory has it, but the Reds are able to add 2 more on a long ball by Joey Votto. 9-3 Reds. Cold, hard blast. And it comes from Joey Votto. That reminds you of the old line from the movie Major League with the guys that were sitting out in the outfield. That can't go out. It's too high. But that one did. It was high enough and deep enough. 2nd dinger of the year for the Reds first baseman. 9-3. Reds with a lead after they fell behind 3-0 in the 1st inning. Dodgers move to the top of the inning. Top of the order, excuse me, Rafael Furcal, who's 1 for 2 with a single at the bottom of the 1st inning. As you said, Chris, this has to take some pressure off Homer Bailey.
Well, it does take pressure off the pitcher. It allows you to breathe a little easier, knowing that if you do get a runner on base, chances are, they're not going to be playing for 1 run. It's not the running game, hit and run. They need some runs. They're 6 down, the Dodgers are. But that said, you just can't go out there and start pumping fastballs and expect to automatically have this game over. You've got to get 27 outs. You don't run out of time. So you tell yourself that it's a 2-run ball game and that you need to retire everybody that you face. and you don't let up one bit because you got 4 days off after tonight.
So don't play the score is what you're saying. For call, pops one. On comes Gomes, snags it.
I really think that Orlando Cabrera probably could have had this ball and maybe been an easier play for Cabrera, but the generosity that Orlando shows to his teammates to get Johnny Gomes to make a defensive gem right here. Little diving, sliding job by Johnny.
Very nicely done. One out, Matt Kemp. Strikeout and a single. And then a race trying to steal, Matt Kemp was in the third inning. 9-3 Reds with a lead. As I mentioned, this is the first of 2 trips that the Dodgers will make into Cincinnati since the realignment of baseball's major league divisions. The Dodgers have been a less frequent visitor than they've been in the past. Strike 3 called. Second time that Kemp has gone down on strikes. Join the Reds in their efforts to go green this Sunday. The first 10,000 kids 18 and younger in attendance will receive an eco-friendly water bottle courtesy of Banquet. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com. 4th strikeout of the night for a Homer Bailey. And the second strikeout in which the batter has been a spectator at strike 3. Ethier, a ground out and a walk.
Ethier, one of those rare players in this Dodger lineup tonight that was not a homegrown player, although he was acquired as a minor leaguer in a deal with the Oakland A's back in 2005. In fact, he was traded for Milton Bradley. Or in the Bradley deal.
Okay. Milton Bradley. There's a character for you. Ethier sends this to right field. Jay Bruce on the run gathers it. Side retired in order. Reds with a 9-3 lead over the Dodgers. The two-time defending Big East champion Bearcats take to the field at Nippert Stadium for the annual Bearcats Bowl Saturday at 7. Coach Butch Jones leads the Bearcats in his first spring game, so don't miss a minute of the action Saturday at 7 on Fox Sports Ohio. Had a glimpse there of Nippert Stadium over in Clifton at the UC campus. Scott Rowland. Base hit, Scott Rowland. his 3rd knock of the night.
I'll tell you what, when Scott Rowland hits it right, it sounds like somebody stacking timber. That ball sounded great coming off his bat. It has 3 times tonight. 3 times up, 3 times base hits, 3 times rockets in the left field. This one more down the left field line. Ball kind of runs in on him a little bit, and he throws that top hand, and Rowland is on again.
Base hit number 10 on the night for the Reds. Jay Bruce. Oops. 1, 2. Double play. 2 for the price of 1.
Hey, Reds fans, have some fun in the kitchen with family and friends this summer using JTM beef and chicken Philly kits or their beef hoagie kits. JTM, food, family, fun.
I already mentioned the Bearcat Bowl, if I may. Also, before the 7 o'clock Bearcat spring game, Ohio State has their spring game Saturday afternoon, 1:30 up at the Horseshoe.
How many do you think they're going to have for that?
Depends on the weather. The understanding is the forecast is not a great one for Saturday, so maybe only 50 or 60,000. If the weather's nice, 80 to 90.
How do they charge for that game?
$5, and the proceeds are tied to the Stephanie Spielman Cancer Foundation. That'll be at 1:30 at Ohio Stadium Saturday, the Scarlet and the Gray game.
So I presume that you'll be missing out on action here at Great American Ballpark against the Padres.
You are correct. We'll be
broadcasting. You'll be heading up to doing your Buckeye work.
Yeah, Jim Lachey and I will be broadcasting the spring game up there in Columbus on Saturday on our flagship station, 97.1 The Fan.
Well, good luck to them. Hope there are no injuries, which is what you hope in a spring game.
That is the biggest concern. There'll be a handful of players that will either not be playing or, in the case one of the young men from Cincinnati, Tyler Moeller from Colerain, who's been going through spring drills but no contact as he recovers from a head injury. But yeah, that's a coach's worst nightmare. Count 2-2 on Johnny Gomes, so 2 out. He's got an RBI and a sacrifice fly. That came in the 3rd, and an RBI on the base hit in the big 2nd inning for the Reds, in which they scored 6 for Cole. Gobbles it up. Side out. Reds still with a lead. 9-3 here at home over the Dodgers.
Dodgers on Fox Sports Ohio. Homer Bailey gets set to go to work here in the 6th inning. Jim Day with you. We're in the club section, the Fox Sports Ohio Champions Club. Check out the tickets here, and I think they're amongst the best in the ballpark, especially in the front row here. Time now for our Meyer text poll question of the night. Manny Ramirez, who ironically stepping into bat right now, we'd like to know, would you want Manny Ramirez on your team? Text 1 if you say yes. Numbers speak for themselves. Or text 2, no. Manny being Manny, just not worth it. 37664 as we text your votes to 37664. This will be very interesting because, guys, the numbers do speak for themselves, but there's a little bit of Mannywood that you have to put up with.
A little bit?
Well, a lot of it. I was being nice.
12-time All-Star, 9-time Louisville Silver Slugger. And last year, 1 homer shy of hitting 20 home runs for his 15th consecutive season. Manny leading off the inning here. A big rip and a miss.
Well, let's ask Jim Day right now. Jim, what do you say? What do you mean, you've known about this text poll question
that's the first
all day long.
I know.
So
I've been going back and forth on it. To me, the numbers do speak for themselves. It's hard to not want him. The money is an issue, obviously, for a club like Cincinnati, but the numbers do speak for themselves.
It's my understanding he exercised a player option to come into 2010 where he took a little less money to return this year. And, some of the question really probably involves what kind of team is it that you're looking at? Is it a veteran team, a competitive team? Trying to go the opposite way, Manny Ramirez sneaks that one into the corner in right field. And he'll get a 2-bagger out of it. I mean, if Manny goes to a ball team that isn't in contention, and the possibility of selfishness can come about, he could be disruptive.
Well, yeah, and that's been the history with Manny, but the guy can flat out hit. There's no question about that. And I think that Homer Bailey kind of woke him up with a pitch in his last at-bat. He eventually walked in that at-bat, kind of threw one up and in on Manny Ramirez. Manny took a look at him right there, and they've been pitching him away just to go show you how good a hitter he is that they recognize immediately where they're pitching him. He takes that ball right down the right field line for a routine double.
Look at the numbers there in the text poll. James Loney, second hitter of the inning. Hall of Famer?
Well, no, I don't know about that.
That's a tough
would certainly say that he probably would be because he's got over 500 home runs, and that usually seems like the free ticket in there. Of course, but when you are tainted with allegations and suspensions of performance-enhancing drugs, I mean, you put him in the same category as a lot of other players, a lot of other very good players, a lot of other very bad players who all took performance-enhancing drugs. So I think for that reason, it may be a little more difficult for Manny to get in is if he did it without any rumor or any connection at all to steroids or performance-enhancing drugs.
Hey, Lefty, I got a question for you. When you're talking about Manny Ramirez in the Hall of Fame, he's too shy of 550 home runs, so that might earmark him in. But do you judge a player like that on both sides of the game? Because defensively, he is a liability in left field.
And he really has never been a great player. I mean, you compare Manny Ramirez now to, say, Barry Bonds in that respect. Both of them have been, allegedly involved with performance-enhancing drugs. But Barry Bonds was the best fielder, left fielder I've ever seen. So he was a tremendous left fielder. He's got better offensive numbers. So in my book, Manny Ramirez is not at this point because of what he did and what he's been connected to. But it is so difficult to judge these players during this era because, hey, not only these Hall of Fame caliber players did steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. It was rampant. There were AAA players doing it. There were guys who made it to the major leagues only because they took those drugs. So you can't just single out guys like Ramirez and McGuire and Bonds and jump on them without taking everybody and painting them with the same brush.
James Loney, the 5th strikeout victim of the night by Homer Bailey, as he looked at strike 3. Of those 5 strikeouts, 3 of them have been called third strikes.
So if you look at the year by year of Manny Ramirez, there are a few years that I would say, no, I don't want to put up with Manny. But there are other years like the ones where he hit 45 home runs and drove in 165. I'd take him that year. Can I cherry pick?
Well, we're just kind of playing around here.
I mean, do I want him last year on the Dodgers when he drove in only 63 and played only 104 games? Or when he drove in 144 for the Red Sox in 2005?
Well, and how he engineered his departure from Boston is probably what still is a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I mean, And there are those that will just say Manny just flat out was dogging it to get out of Boston. And prompted that three-way deal with the Dodgers, Boston, and Pittsburgh that involved Jason Bay going to the Red Sox. Still close.
You know, that's amazing, though. That what we get from our viewership, and we think that we've got the smartest viewers of any baseball team on the planet. But if you have a Hall of Fame caliber player like Manny Ramirez, and you have almost 50% of the people viewing say, I don't want this guy on my team because I don't perceive him perhaps as a team player or worth the extra baggage that comes along with him. That says a lot right there.
Is it a credit to Joe Torre how he's handled what could be a circus? Maybe it has been a circus and it's just part of what goes on out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, after being in New York.
Thank you.
For all those years, I think, what was he there for 13, 14 years? I think Joe Torre has seen just about everything that Manny Ramirez could ever throw at him. 10 times more.
There's a good look at Joe Torre. Of course, we mentioned over the weekend, Joe coming back here. His wife is a Cincinnati girl. Here's some more useless little trivia for you. As a player, Joe Torre's last career home run came off the Hawk, Clay Carroll, while he was with St. Louis. A catcher and a third baseman in his career. And as a manager, enough said. But, you know, remember those early managerial stints with the Mets, the Braves, and St. Louis. People really wondered if Joe was ever going to be an overly successful manager. Once he was out of it at one point, he was working as a TV announcer with the Angels before the Yankees gave him another opportunity at it. An outstanding player in the late 60s, early 70s. And by many, many accounts, as classy a guy as there is.
I don't think you'll find anybody to disagree with that.
(9-3) Reds with a lead over the Dodgers. Joe Torre's LA team scored 3 in the top of the first. Looked like they were cooking with gas until the Reds erupted in the second. Blake stings one. Gomes backing. Gomes can't get it as he crashes to the wall. Manny will come around and score. Ending up at third base is Casey Blake with an RBI triple.
Well, Casey Blake has swung the bat twice against Homer Bailey, and when he's made contact, he's hurt him a lot. A bases clearing double in the first inning, scored 3. This one will score another one. A breaking ball that Blake gets out in front of a little bit and drives Johnny Gomes all the way to the wall. Wow, does he take a wallop off of that screen. And by the time he's able to retrieve it and bring it on back, Blake's got a triple. The Dodgers have another run, and it's a 5-run game.
9-4.
I think Johnny Gomes actually enjoyed running into that wall out there. You know that? This guy's a hard-nosed player.
He is. Pitch number 100 by Homer Bailey. It is fouled off by Blake DeWitt. Johnny had a little bit of an adventure Sunday out there in left field on a ball hit by Jason Jaramillo. But we've seen him make a couple of, well, that was a great effort. We also saw him earlier make an outstanding play out there in left field. So 1 out, the Dodgers with Blake at third after an RBI triple. Blake DeWitt, 1 base hit on the night, an infield variety hit in the 4th inning. Grounded out to end the 1st inning after the Dodgers had scored 3 times.
We talked in the pregame show tonight about Homer Bailey, not only Homer Bailey, but all the Red starters and how many pitches they've used to get through 5 innings of work this year on an average. And they've been quite the inefficient group overall. Look at Homer's total tonight, 102 pitches already. Here he is with 1 out in the 6th inning. This will probably be his last inning based on his pitch count, not on his performance. Take another look at the graphic we showed you in the pregame show. All of the pitchers. Now, this line in the center, right here. This is the number of innings that they pitched overall this year, and this is what the pitches that they've thrown in each start. So you can see that when you throw 100 pitches in 5 innings, you're not going very deep into a ball game. You tax the bullpen. But at least in this case, unless a major uprising happens here with 1 out, Homer Bailey will leave the ball game with a comfortable lead.
He is due to hit second. Daniel Ray Herrera and Logan Andrusic.
The Twin Towers down there.
Point guard, power forward. Count 1-2 on Blake DeWitt. 9-4. Reds with the lead over the Dodgers. Left field base hit plates another for L.A. as DeWitt goes the opposite way with a base hit.
Well, now you wonder how long Dusty Baker is going to go with his starting pitcher.
Sure, he'd probably like to get him out of this inning.
You know, if you go 5 1/3, you're giving up 5 runs. I mean, whether you qualify for the start or not doesn't mean anything at this point. I mean, Dusty Baker has seen his team lose 5 games in a row, come off a very tough road trip. I know you want to save your bullpen. I know you want to give your youngster a little bit of confidence out there, but the fact remains a bomb right here makes it a 2-run game.
Russell Martin is the 1-out hitter, searching for his first base hit of the night. A fly ball and a ground out for the Dodger catcher. Pitcher spot for L.A. Due up next, Garrett Anderson will trot out to the on-deck circle.
Well, this is where Homer Bailey needs to take a little bit of time. As he takes a walk around the mound right here, he needs to peer into that on-deck circle and see Garrett Anderson. And he ought to know full well that this is his last batter. He's not going to get a chance to face Garrett Anderson if he doesn't retire Russell Martin. And in case he doesn't figure that out, I think Brian Price is out there to tell him exactly that right now.
So the Reds pitching coach with a visit to the mound. Anderson earlier was in the on-deck circle, but then was replaced by Reed Johnson, who pinch hit for the starter Chad Billingsley. Ramon Ortiz was the second Dodger pitcher of the night. How nice would a double play ball be here? Count 2-0 to Russell Martin. See the splits there on what he's been able to do. Martin has been an all-star catcher in his career. Bailey needing a strike. Got it. Garrett Anderson, part of the Angels team, who won everything in 2002 over the Giants, who were managed by one Dusty Baker. 3-1 pitch. Ground ball to right field. That'll keep the inning going for the Dodgers as Martin fights it off going the opposite way.
The Dodgers have given Homer Bailey some really good at-bats here in this inning. Mainly Blake DeWitt and Russell Martin each going the other way. And the last one by Martin. Not chase him. I thought Dusty Baker was on his way to the mound, but I guess he never did call timeout. Maybe they're waiting until Garrett Anderson is actually announces the hitter. Once you're announced with the official score and the umpire just does that, now Dusty will wait. He's in the ball game. He'll go in to make the shift and probably go to the left-hander in the bullpen.
Garrett Anderson never was announced in that previous instance that we referred to, and it will be Daniel Ray Herrera called on from the bullpen. The Reds with a 9-5 lead over the Dodgers, but are called to the bullpen occurring here in the 6th. that are his responsibility. Five strikeouts. 3 of them were called third strikes.
Well, Daniel Ray Herrera in for the 7th time. He's got an even earned run average of 3.00 in here to face the left-handed hitting pinch hitter Garrett Anderson. He has been very tough on left-handers since coming up to the major leagues. And he faces a guy in the batter's box right now, Garrett Anderson, who is also very tough on left-handed hitting. In his career, these are career numbers on Anderson. Against lefties, he's a .290 hitter.
It doesn't usually work out that way. 110 pitches, by the way, for Homer Bailey. Garrett Anderson, 37-year-old veteran outfielder. In the hole, 0-1. Center field, Stubbs backing up. He's got it, second out. So Anderson retired. We flip back to the top of the order and Rafael Furcal. The inning started with a strikeout of James Loney, but then, started with a double by Manny Ramirez. Loney struck out, then an RBI triple by Casey Blake, a RBI base hit by Blake DeWitt. Russell Martin single. And that brings us to 2 out, and Furcal back to the dish. Led off the game with a single to right center field. Then was thrown out on a roller in front of the plate and a fly ball to left field. 9-5, the Reds with a lead. Dodgers had an early 3-0 advantage. Cincinnati put a 6-spot up in the 2nd inning and looked to be cooking with gas.
Well, we take the splits on Rafael Furcal, a very accomplished switch hitter. Batting left-handed, .282. A little bit better right-handed he is with a .293 average. More power from the left side. Of course, more at-bats over there as well.
There's some power.
Well, he's got a good quick swing.
From the Dominican Republic, Rafael Furcal.
Well, he's got himself set up now after a high fastball right here that he gets way out in front of. That ball hooking foul into the stands, setting up for that screwball, and he gets it.
Grounds to Rowland, goes to Phillips, inning over, but the Dodgers score 2. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 9-5, Reds with a lead. Freeze cam. Solid contact by Brandon Phillips. That was his home run to lead off the 2nd inning. The first of 6 runs that was scored in that frame. That was the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Rose, home run number 2 in the season for Brandon Phillips. New pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, John Link. And look who's in the house, Chris.
Well, we heard he was going to be here. Of course, we've had all sorts of members of the Big Red Machine here up in the booth and at the ballpark. Joe Morgan is in town. We've had Johnny Bench up here. But the hit king himself, Pete Rose, at the ballpark tonight. Doesn't get any better than that. I wonder if he and his old running buddy Larry Bowa, the third base coach for the Dodgers, will be hooting and hollering later on after the game.
Was up at the original Montgomery Inn for lunch this afternoon and saw Pete in there with, I believe, Pete Jr. So they're chowing down on some ribs. Major league debut for John Link of the Dodgers. Peter Edward Rose. Miguel Cairo is in the on-deck circle to be the number 2 hitter in the inning. Ramon Hernandez will lead it off for the Reds. 9-5, Cincinnati with a lead. Hernandez on the night, a base hit in 2 at-bats. That came in the second inning. So John Link has followed Chad Billingsley and Ramon Ortiz. Swing and a miss by Hernandez. These 2 teams will be here to do it again tomorrow night and Thursday night as well. John Link making his major league debut. Hernandez bounces to DeWitt at second, 1 out. Link was acquired from the Chicago White Sox in the deal that sent Juan Pierre to Chicago. The Dodgers also got right-handed pitcher John Eli. How about the job Juan Pierre did last year when Manny Ramirez was suspended? He really did a phenomenal job. The veteran Miguel Cairo is the veteran coming up to pinch hit, but Juan Pierre really bailed the Dodgers out. So Cairo pinch hitting here in the 6th inning. He started 2 of the last 3 games in the weekend series in Pittsburgh with the Pirates. Cairo started Friday night's game at first base in place of Joey Votto. And then started Saturday night's game at third base with Scott Rowland unable to go. Cairo began his career as a member of the Dodgers. Logan Ondrusek and Arthur Rhodes heating up in the bullpen. 9-5, Cincinnati with the lead. Miguel Cairo 1 for 10 on the road trip with the stops in Pittsburgh and in Florida. I mentioned how this series stacks up the next 2 nights. Tomorrow night, Aaron Harang and Hiroki Kuroda. Thursday night, Mike Leake and Vicente Padilla. Both games starting shortly after 7 o'clock. And both games brought to you right here on Fox Sports Ohio. John Link readying a break-even pitch to Miguel Cairo. Cairo was signed by the Dodgers as an undrafted free agent in 1990 by former Major League pitcher Camilo Pascual. But he never did play in the major leagues with the Dodgers. For called charger. Guns Cairo down 2-0. Back to the top of the order.
Well, we've seen him go deep in the hole before, and is Rafael Furcal and gun out runners from the deep shortstop spot. But you can also show that gun off on a slow roller like that. Miguel Cairo had thoughts maybe of getting an infield hit right there, considering how far Furcal had to come to field that ball. But a rifle of an arm from the Dodgers shortstop.
Still. So Stubbs, the 2-out hitter, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th, got a steal. Still looking to get over 200 with his batting average. That one in the alley in right center field. Kemp, third out. The Reds still with a 9-5 lead here at home against Los Angeles. AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. By Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. The Reds have a 9-5 lead over the Dodgers. Here in the bottom of the sixth inning, or top of the seventh inning, excuse me, as the Reds have called on a new pitcher.
And the tallest pitcher on the staff at 6 feet 8 inches tall is Logan Ondrusek. The youngster made the ball club out of spring training based on a very good season that he had, the part season, spring training season in Goodyear, Arizona. 7 games for Ondrusek. Unscored upon in 4 of his last 5 outings. Big, hard-throwing right-hander, works the downward plane, good split-finger change-up that he uses as his off-speed pitch.
Matt Kemp will be the first batter he faces. Skies one to right field. The Jay Bruce backs up on the track for 1 out.
You know, one of the things that those pitchers who have had a chance to pitch in Louisville, for Rick Sweet and the Louisville Bats, find mighty different is the dimensions of this ballpark and how it plays as compared with the Louisville Bat Stadium. Well, fly balls go into those alleys down there, and they just die. And in this ballpark, a ball goes off the end of the bat like that, you really never know. That one's chased Jay Bruce right up to the fence.
Well, this has been a park that's been known to yield the home runs ever since it opened. Quite the extreme for the past weekend with the cold, damp weather in Pittsburgh. Ball didn't really carry an awful lot. Andre Ethier, 0 for 2 with a walk. To Logan Ondrusek from Shiner, Texas. Follows Daniel Ray Herrera and Homer Bailey.
I mean, this kid's got some big mitts. I mean, he holds that baseball. It's like a normal person holding a golf ball.
Mm-hmm. Makes that glove look like a peewee glove, too, doesn't it?
It makes that split finger that he throws a lot easier to throw out there. His fingers are so long. And there it is right there.
You have to kind of condition your fingers for that? To be able to get it.
Not if they're the size of small islands.
2-1 pitch. Right field in front of Bruce. He gets it on a bounce. So Ethier reaches with his first base hit of the night. It's an education every night.
school of laughs around here, Paul. That's a four-seam fastball because you can see the grip right there, the horseshoe of that baseball right there. He's holding it right across the seams and tried to sneak that. Well, actually, that's not. That's a little bit of a little cutter, I guess he throws. He likes to throw the cutter. You throw it somewhat similar to the fastball. You hold a little bit off seams, and he cut it at the very end. That ball just stayed up right there and was able to be smacked into the gap by Ethier.
Manny Ramirez, who started a 2-run sixth inning for the Dodgers with a double, climbs into the box.
A cutter is more of a fastball than it is a slider. There's a split finger grip. Andrusa kind of holds that split finger grip in kind of an unusual way. He makes sure that his index finger is on the seam so that when he gets right out there ready to release it, he's able to pull down with that finger right there and kind of give almost a screwball effect. But he gets that rotation so it'll dive when it gets to the plate. Ooh. That one forgot to dive. Manny must think that he's got a target on his helmet. That's the second time he's been buzzed fairly close by a Reds pitcher.
Is that split finger and that pitch okay for youngsters to start pitching, or do you need to wait on a while?
I wouldn't really encourage a youngster to throw a split finger pitch.
Andrusa gets the strike. Crowd likes that. Manny was trying to sell ball 4.
Well, I don't think there's anything more embarrassing for a hitter than to assume it's ball 4. And it may have been, but it wasn't called ball 4. He's got to come back. Now the umpire's shown up.
Dangerous.
Now you have some tension around that home plate.
Manny liked tension.
The guy can hit.
So a foul.
You know, you see Manny do that, where he, is awakened by maybe a close call on a pitch or a close call by an umpire or for some reason or other, and then he really bears down. And when he really bears down, he's really tough to get out. And you just wonder what he could do in his career, even more superlative than the numbers that are already there, if he bore down really hard on every at-bat. Say, for instance, the way Pete Rose did.
Ball 4.
Well, don't you think after being shown up a little bit on the 3-0 pitch, Andy Flesher didn't want to ring him up on this one?
Well, there you go. Fox Track shows it was probably the right lack of a call. 4th walk given up by Reds pitchers on the night. So another pitching change forthcoming. Arthur Rhodes has been summoned from the bullpen. Reds with a 9-5 lead over the Dodgers, top of the 7th. Offer from Subway restaurants and the Cincinnati Reds. With this special offer, you can purchase 4 view-level tickets to one of the Reds games tomorrow through Sunday, for just $40. And you'll receive vouchers for 4 free 6-inch everyday value Subway subs. Get your 4 for $40 deal now at 381 Reds or visit Reds.com.
Arthur Rhodes in for the 6th time already this year. Still a very good earned run average, as you would expect out of this left-hander. A veteran. Low batting average against. Keeps the ball in the ballpark. And very tough on lefties.
Yeah, he'll face a lefty in James Loney, the Dodger first baseman. 9-5. Reds with a lead. Swing and a miss. Rhodes part of the bullpen effort on Saturday night in Pittsburgh, where he followed Johnny Cueto, Daniel Ray Herrera, Logan Andrusik. Things seemingly in good stead there, but that's where Cordero ran into trouble in the 9th inning. 1 out, 2 on for the Dodgers. Swing and a miss by Loney. Looked at a 3rd strike in the 6th, walked in the 1st, and in the 3rd grounded out to the pitcher. (9-5) Reds with the lead, trying to break a 5-game skid. Check. In time.
Well, that's a nasty slider right there. Slider, fastball, slider for Arthur Rhodes. That had to take every bit of concentration Loney could muster not to pull the trigger on that one.
Count 1-2. Bounces, and that's going to allow Ethier and Ramirez both to advance. They tried to get Manny on the overslide, but no luck. So a wild pitch charge to Arthur Rhodes.
And that eliminates the possibility of a double play ball, at least one on the ground for Arthur Rhodes. Tough break right there as that ball just got away from him.
So the situation becomes even more treacherous for Arthur Rhodes, a veteran left-hander. Count 2-2. Loney standing in, Rhodes delivering. Good patience by Loney.
Yeah, very good at bat by Loney. He got down, no balls and 2 strikes, just like that to Arthur Rhodes. And Rhodes been trying to peck away at that outside corner with the slider. And he's missed it 3 times in a row now. So what do you do on a 3-2 count? You do have a base open.
Ethier at 3rd, Ramirez at 2nd. Swing and a miss.
I'm not sure what exactly it is about Arthur Rhodes' fastball, but I mean, occasionally it gets hit. But man, oh man, you see more guys swing late on that pitch. He must be so deceptive in the way that that ball comes out of his hand. To pitch as long as he has and to be as successful as he has, he's got to have something special going on.
He's had something special going on against Casey Blake, who was 0 for 5 in his career against the Reds lefty. That, by the way, was the 6th strikeout of the night secured by Reds pitching. Blake, one of the earlier strikeout victims, but he's got 2 extra base hits, a double in the 1st, a triple in the 6th. One and one. Ethier at 2nd, Ramirez at 1st. Arthur Rhodes to Blake. Blake came from Cleveland. Played with Baltimore, Minnesota, his major league debut in 1999 with Toronto. 2-1 the count on the Dodger 3rd baseman. Blake DeWitt on deck. Rhodes trying to get the Reds out of the inning. Big rip and a miss.
Casey Blake has seen that pitch before, and it's really come out with the same result. He has faced Arthur Rhodes 5 times, 3 punch outs, no hits.
2-2, 2 out, 2 on. Ripped and a miss. Blake, as Hernandez will complete the strikeout. Inning over. 9-5. The Reds over the Dodgers here at Great American. After every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game and talks to the players and coaches on Reds Live. Brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro will be taking care of Reds Live as Cincinnati has a 9-5 lead. We move to the bottom of the 7th inning here at Great American Ballpark. A fun night for all ages out here at the ball yard as the Reds have come home. Broke things pretty much in their favor with a 6-run second inning. Orlando Cabrera will lead the inning off for the Reds. Cabrera searching for his first base hit of the night, and as we mentioned more than a few times, Orlando trying to extend an 8-game hitting streak, which is the longest of the year for the Reds. Still towing the rubber for the Dodgers. Cabrera in an 0-2 hole. This may be his last opportunity to try and extend that hitting streak. Did get an RBI on a sacrifice fly in that big second inning for the Reds.
Well, John Link has ties to Reds country in some way. Born in Columbus, Ohio, March of 1984. Raised in Chantilly, Virginia. That's from there is where he was signed originally by the San Diego Padres, traded over to the White Sox, and then eventually made his way here back on the West Coast to the Dodgers.
Born in Columbus.
Which I would imagine makes him a Buckeye fan by birthright.
Absolutely. Whether he knows it or not. Count 2-2. Casey Blake gobbles it up at third. Cabrera retired. As we said, that might take care of that hitting streak. Joey Votto.
Well, I think having known Orlando Cabrera a little bit before he came over to the Reds, and a lot better now, he'd give up that hitting streak any day to be able to shuck the Reds and that 5-game losing streak along the way.
And a key part with it, with his play in the middle of the diamond and the RBI that we mentioned. Joey Votto has gotten into the RBI act tonight. A home run, his second of the year in the 4th, and an RBI single in the 2nd. And tonight, a great example of the difference it makes having Votto and Rolen in the lineup.
And you know, it really does. I mean, if you're a Dodger fan, you're bemoaning the fact that your starting pitcher, Chad Billingsley, you know, couldn't give you what you needed and gave up a 6-spot in the second inning. If you're a Reds fan, you're thinking, man, the bats have come alive now, finally. And this is what we're talking about.
10 base hits. And how about this, Chris? One runner left on base when we were talking about how the Reds had left 18 on base in the whole weekend in Pittsburgh.
Well, things come in cycles, and, you know, is what Dusty Baker, I'm sure, told all of his guys, and my former TV partner George Grand used to tell us all the time, you know, you're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as good as you think you are.
So don't listen either way, right?
Mm-hmm. Keep plugging at it.
3-1, Votto. Checks. Count runs full. Brandon Phillips on deck. He's also homered on the night. Ball 4. Votto trucks down to first base. Would that be the first walk that the Dodgers pitcher has given up?
First walk. Believe it or not, Chad Billingsley gave up 7 runs. 4 of them were earned, I believe. But no walks. No walks out of Ramon Ortiz. The first one given up by Dodger pitching.
So up steps Brandon Phillips. Homered to start that second inning. Struck out to end the second inning. Looking at a third strike. And popped out to the first baseman. Phillips average at 231. Started the game at 224, so an incremental climb. RBI number 8 on that dinger that he connected 4 off of Billingsley. Count 1-0 to Brandon Phillips. Votto on the move. Martin with the throw. Nabs it. So 2 out as Votto was caught stealing.
Joey Votto had a decent lead out there, but you see how quick the delivery to home plate John Link is, and a perfect throw down there at the other end by Russell Martin. Looked like the second baseman Blake DeWitt had a notion maybe to put his leg down there in front of the second base bag to block it, but Votto comes in there feet first.
The 4, 5, and 6 batters in the Reds lineup tonight, Chris, had hit for the cycle.
Don't tell me you're one of those cycle guys.
I'm just passing along what Mark Wagner passed along. However, the Reds, if I understand this correctly from Wags, the longest stretch of anybody existing in the majors right now without somebody who has hit for the cycle. The last was Eric Davis in June of 1989 at Riverfront against San Diego. So take it for what it's worth. High fly, Brandon Phillips. Caught for the third out of the inning. Reds have the lead, 9-5. Here's Great America. The Granger Player Spotlight for the ones who get it done, and Scott Rowland certainly has done that tonight. The sound of the ball off the bat. 3 base hits for the Reds' first baseman. After missing the weekend series in Pittsburgh, Blake DeWitt will lead off the top of the 8th for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Called strike as Arthur Rhodes continues to work out there. DeWitt with an RBI base hit in the 6th inning. Also an infield base hit in the 4th. These two teams at it tomorrow night and Thursday night as well, right here at Great American Ballpark. The Dodgers at home on Sunday with the Giants. There's a significant acknowledgement of the 60th year of Vin Scully working as the Dodgers broadcaster. Doesn't make road trips anymore. Just does home games. Grounded to Cabrera in the hole. Quick throw. And a tag thrown on by Votto. When it's going right, it's going right.
Well, the Reds have a 3 Gold Glove infield out there. 3 guys in that infield have earned Gold Gloves in their career. Cabrera, one of them. This throw takes Votto off the bag, but Votto's getting better and better. Every year, a little part of his defensive game improving. And a sweep tag right there. Blake DeWitt gets the first out of the inning.
And Dusty Baker is going to go to the bullpen again as the Reds have a 9-5 lead over the Dodgers here in the top of the 8th inning. Cincinnati will have Nick Massett coming from the bullpen. 9-5. The Redlegs with a lead over the Dodgers. Reds with a 9-5 lead over the Dodgers. Top of the 8th inning with 1 out here at Great American Ballpark, where the world of baseball and sports saddened earlier today to learn of the death of Colorado Rockies president Kelly McGregor. He was found dead in a hotel room at Salt Lake City earlier this morning. President of the ball club since October of 2001. Sadness expressed by Bud Selig, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. McGregor joined the Rockies in 1993 as the senior director of operations, became senior VP in 96, and then vice president in 98. An All-American tight end at Colorado State, played in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, and Seattle Seahawks. 48 years old, Kelly McGregor. And that just a few days after one of the highs in the history of the Colorado franchise. Ubaldo Jimenez with a no-hitter on Saturday night. Kelly McGregor was on a business trip with some of the upper management the Rockies organization, including the team owner. Russell Martin, the one-out hitter, as Nick Massett is now on to pitch for the Dodgers. Jamie Carroll is in the on-deck circle. So look at what Nick Massett has done in the season. An impressive 2009 for right-hander Nick Massett.
Well, you had to figure it was going to be a bullpen type of ball game when your starting pitcher has to leave the game in the 6th inning, having thrown more than 100 pitches, and that was the story for Homer Bailey tonight. So, little by little, Dusty Baker's trying to dole out the rest of the innings to try to get his team through this without overworking anybody, one in particular.
Martin will rip his second base hit of the night. Single into center field. So base hits in back-to-back at-bats for Dodger catcher Russell Martin.
Now, looking at the Dodgers and their batting averages, we did that earlier, compared those to the Reds. This team is not going to go away offensively. I mean, you're up by 4 runs, yes, with a couple of innings left to go, but still, this is a team that sports, nearly every one of their starters batting over 300. They've got plenty of power. They've got superstars in the middle of their lineup like Manny Ramirez. So do not count them out until you've got that out number 27.
Well, Jamie Carroll was in the on-deck circle, but has come back, and veteran infielder Ronnie Belliard will come up and be the pinch hitter for John Link. Belliard has been around. Acquired late last season by the Dodgers and ended up claiming the second base job. Played 86 games with Washington and 24 with LA. Belliard first hit the major leagues in '98 with Milwaukee, then with Colorado, the Indians, St. Louis. 12-year major league career. Belliard tags one to left. Gomes backing to the track. Can't get it. Martin scooting to third. And he'll be held at third base. A double by Belliard in the pinch hit.
Well, Ronnie Belliard can flat out swing the bat, and this is what happens when you've got a big payroll team. You've got veterans on the bench like Garrett Anderson and Belliard who come out of there with some pop and some power, and it gives a lot of tools at the disposal of Joe Torre. So now a base hit right here with runners that's on every bag, or make it on second and third, make it a 2-run ball game.
Brian Price with a jaunt out to the mound to talk with Nick Massett. Nick Massett on the just completed road trip appeared in 3 games, 2 2/3 inning, allowed a couple of earned runs. Remember, right in that Florida series, wasn't there a stretch where there was one night that he was not available?
Well, he's a workhorse. There's no question about that. He will rarely ever, if he ever has, I've never heard of it, refuse the ball on a particular night no matter how many days in a row he's worked.
So back to the top of the order. Rafael Furcal, the Dodgers shortstop.
Yeah, he's got a tough assignment right here in Furcal.
1 out, 2 on. Furcal a single. A ground out, a fly out, and a fielder's choice. (9-5). Reds with the lead. At one point, we're up 7-3 Cincinnati. Rafael Furcal 0 for 1 against Nick Massett. This year, Furcal 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. 1 out, 2 on. Count 1-1. That bounces in front of Hernandez, but right in front of him. Outfielders, especially in right and left, playing shallow. Hoping possibly with a fly ball, and in particularly to right field to be able to choke off an attempted run at the plate. Bassett ready with a 2-1 pitch. Call tempted, but he left it alone. Bassett led this team with 74 appearances on the pitching mound last year. Up the middle for a call. Base hit. It'll score at least one. For a call with an RBI single. And the Dodgers inch a little bit closer. 9-6.
Well, he does a pretty good job of staying on that low fastball. Goes right back up the middle with it. And just like that, the Dodgers have climbed back into this ball game. They scored 3 in the first. They came back and scored 2 in the second, 2 in the sixth. They've added one here. Now it's a tight 3-run game with the tying run at the plate with a guy that has as much power as anybody on this Dodger ball club.
Matt Kemp. Apparently Francisco Cordero has started to scramble around on the Reds bullpen. 9-6 Cincinnati with a lead.
Well, it's never easy, is it? You think you have a big output of runs, you put 9 on the board. Dusty's thinking, all right, we're going to cruise through this one, right? Not against this Dodger team, you're not.
Belliard at third. For call at first. Matt Kemp. Kemp has been held in check. A base hit, but caught stealing. A couple of strikeouts and a fly ball to right field.
Yeah, he had 26 home runs last year. Not to be taken as a normal number 2 hitter in the lineup. Usually the number 2 guy is the guy to get the runner over. He can plate him.
For call off, Hernandez unable to get him with a stolen base by Rafael Furcal. His 6th steal of the year.
That's a big stolen base right there. You know, some of these guys who steal bases, 30, 40 bags a year are doing it when their team is up by 5 or 6 runs in the 6th or 7th inning. But that is when you need it right there.
His 2nd swipe of the night.
If Furcal scores, it's a 1-run game.
Count 2-0 to Matt Kemp. Pop fly deep. Stubbs chasing. Gone.
Wow. What happened?
So the Dodgers here in the 8th inning tied the game up on a 3-run homer by Matt Kemp. His 6th home run of the season.
Well, you talk about an emotional roller coaster in each one of these dugouts. Matt Kemp went down to get that ball. A knee-high fastball that he stays right behind. What a sweet swing of a slugger that is. Opposite field, a 3-run bomb, and it's all tied at 9. Dusty Baker cannot believe it.
He's not alone. Most of the folks sitting in the stands feel the same way. You talked about his power and how he is kind of an odd person in the number 2 hole, but gets the job done. Matt Kemp. Andre Ethier. Ethier a single and a walk tonight.
You know, when you look at in the past at all the troubles the Reds have had over the last couple of years with the Dodgers, you think, all right, well, this is the night that's going to begin to change a little bit. And the Dodgers keep coming back and coming back like they know that they own the Reds. Reds seem to be able to hang in with the other divisions pretty well. Central Division, they're a little bit below 500 over the last couple of years. The East Division, they're a little bit below 500. But against the West, they have been woeful.
And against the Dodgers, 2 for 12 in the last 2 years here at Great American Ballpark. Goes at it, strike. See you later. 7th strikeout of the night for Reds pitchers. So Ethier down, Manny Ramirez up with the bases empty. Manny with a walk in the 7th inning. That created some of the mystery there, but was left stranded on base. The Dodgers have left 7 on base tonight. Ramirez 1 base hit, a double in the 6th.
Well, this is the matchup that we showed you earlier in the ball game that happened last year on bobblehead night. Manny bobblehead night. It was Nick Massett that came in and gave up that grand slam to Manny Ramirez,
which was a pinch hit home run, the first of his career. This past Sunday, he had his 2nd pinch hit home run as he smacked one against the Giants. In case you forgot what it looked like from last July.
First pitch fastball. And chaos erupted.
Right in Mannywood. And that was his only appearance prior to now against Nick Massett. The count, 2 out. The Dodgers have tied the game with 4 here in the 8th inning. Swing and a miss by Manny Ramirez.
Well, they're trying to pitch Manny away. Take the power away from him going to left field, and Massett trying to hit that outside corner, and does. Both of the strikes in this at bat against Manny have been fastballs away.
Also away.
Good slider right there. He just was not tempted.
So the count full on the Dodger left fielder with James Loney on deck. 9-9. Still alive with a foul. Kemp's home run, the first of the night for the Dodgers. The Reds have gotten a couple of long balls. Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Nick Massett trying to get out of this 8th inning. Still with some work to do.
And that'll be all for Nick Massett, as Dusty Baker now is going to make his way to the home plate umpire, Andy Fletcher. And that will be a double switch.
5th walk of the inning, the night, given up by Reds pitching. Tie game, 9-9, Reds and Dodgers. We will be right back.
Then followed by Daniel Ray Herrera, Logan Ondrusik, Arthur Rhodes, Nick Massett, who has touched up for 4 hits. And so far 4 runs in this ball game, in this inning, and that runner at third base or first base, and Manny Ramirez is his responsibility. And Mike Lincoln, number 6. Last pitch a couple of days ago, 2 innings of very good baseball against the Pirates. You know, after being roughed up in his first outing against the St. Louis Cardinals, Lincoln has thrown the ball pretty well.
James Loney at the plate. He will be the 8th Dodger hitter of this inning. Strike. 4 have scored in the top of the 8th for Los Angeles. 3 of them on one swing of the bat from Matt Kemp. Ramirez at first base being held on by Joey Votto. So Orlando Cabrera is out of the game. Paul Janisch in at shortstop. Mike Lincoln with a hit second. Count 1-1 with 2 out. Lincoln misses to Loney. Casey Blake on deck. He's had a big blast in the night. Swing and a miss by Loney. Mike Lincoln looking for strike 3. Fly to right. Bruce backing. Got it. Nice grab. Jay Bruce to end the inning. But the Dodgers tie the game up. Matt Kemp with a 3-run homer. But the inning ends on a great grab by Jay Bruce. 9-9 tie score. Time now for the John Morrell hot dog play of the game, and it was the last one we saw.
What a great, and I mean great, maybe game-saving leaping catch right there for Jay Bruce. That ball was hit like a shot off the bat of James Loney, and he runs it down in the deep right field area, and that saves a run and possibly the ball game for the Reds. So we remain at 9. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game, Jay Bruce.
That was it. Well, Scott Rowland will lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. We have a new pitcher for the Dodgers, Ramon Troncoso. And Ronnie Belliard remains in the game playing first base. Rowland's return to the lineup has been a 3-base hit night. A couple of singles and a double. Torrey has worked his bullpen extensively here this evening. Just look at what Troncoso has done in 8 appearances this year. 73 games last year for the Dodgers. Battled some shoulder trouble last year. Scott Rowland, 2-1, counting in his favor against the Dodger right-hander. Rowland sends one to center field. Kemp backing. And shy of the track, tracks it down. So the first time tonight, Scott Rowland has been retired.
Yeah, that ball sounded so good coming off his bat. It excited a lot of the people here at the ballpark. Just did not carry.
So Jay Bruce, an RBI triple, which was a key part of the Reds' 6-run second inning. Bounced into a double play in the 5th inning, his last at bat. An outstanding play in right field in the top of the 8th inning. Everybody's been aware of Jay Bruce's arm out there in right field. Certainly great instincts to break on that ball. Troncoso bounces one in the dirt. Massive giving up 4 hits and 4 runs in 1/3 of an inning. But the big blow, the 3-run homer by Matt Kemp. Dusty Baker's team scrapping to see if they can end a 5-game losing streak. Of course, Dusty, most of his major league career was spent with the Dodgers. Part of that Dodger team in 1981 that won the World Series, beating the Yankees. A fixture in that Dodger outfield for a long time. Began his career with the Braves in Atlanta. Count 2-2 to Jay Bruce with 1 out. Ramon Troncoso. Jay Bruce with his game Sunday, the 6-2 homer game in his career, and the Reds have shown their flair for late inning dramatics, leading the league with most wins in their last at bat. Count 2-2 the right fielder. Those 2 home runs he hit Sunday looked like they were just such nice, easy swings with solid contact.
Well, they were breaking balls. One was very impressive because it came off the arm of a left-hander. The other was off of a right-hander. But if you chart them in the strike zone, exactly the same spot, each of them.
Troncoso, the right-hander, having trouble finding the strike zone. With his base hit tonight, Jay Bruce now has hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games. Count his run full. Tie 9-9 ball game. Bottom of the 8th inning here at Great American Ballpark. Ball 4.
Good eye right there by Jay Bruce, and that begins to show me that Jay Bruce is coming around a little bit. You know, young players, you're going to see them streak hot and streak cold, and oftentimes when they're streaking cold, they chase those marginal pitches, but recognizing that as down and out of the strike zone early enough to hold back on it gives the Reds a base runner.
And on a night when the Dodger pitchers have been stingy with the base on balls, that's only the second they've allowed. Johnny Gomes. A couple of RBIs tonight for Gomes. A single in the 2nd, a sac fly in the 3rd. holding Bruce on at first base. Troncoso in tight to Johnny Gomes.
Now, Johnny Gomes, if he continues to hit, he will continue to play. The quandary for Dusty Baker is, at what point in the ball game do you decide to play defense and, you know, bring in somebody like a Chris Dickerson or Lance Nix to play left field defensively, but you lose his bat in the lineup in the event that you have an extra inning game or a tight game towards the end.
Gomes to center. Kemp charging. He had held stationary for a moment. 2 down. So Ramon Hernandez. Hernandez got involved in that 6-run second inning with a single. It's his only hit in 3 at-bats on the evening. 9-9 the score. 13 hits for the Dodgers, 10 hits for the Reds. Los Angeles has been guilty of a couple of errors. Hernandez with just 2 base hits in the just completed road trip at Florida and at Pittsburgh. Played only in one of the games against the Pirates. Missed 57 games last year with a knee injury, but proved to be a value when Joey Votto was out, getting a lot of time at first base. Even had to go to third in one game last year. Troncoso, 1-0 pitch.
You know, Troncoso is neither bad nor good when it comes to holding runners on. He's got a fairly quick move to first base, but not all that quick to the plate. And just wonder if maybe Jay Bruce can get an extra step at first base, put himself in scoring position, and give the Reds a chance to get the go-ahead run out there.
3-0. Everybody's excited about the start of a major league season. Ramon Troncoso had to miss opening day because of the birth of his first child, a daughter. Count 3-0. All 4, so 2 on for the Reds. Back-to-back walks by the Dodger reliever. Oh, sorry, 2 walks in the last 3 at-bats. The third Los Angeles walk issue. So Paul Janisch, who came in as a double switch in the last inning, his first at bat of the night, hitting in the number 9 spot. All 3 for 10 with a homer and 3 RBIs in the 5-game road trip. Reds trying to do some business with 2 outs and break up a 9-9 deadlock. Bruce at second. Hernandez at first. Shortstop Paul Janisch in his first at-bat. Average right at 300. Troncoso. Janisch to left field. Charging is Manny. Won't get it. Reds will have a run come to the plate in the place of Jay Bruce. Janisch is going to be caught between second and first. There's going to be another run come to the plate as the ball gets dropped at first base. Hernandez scores. So the Reds get 2 and break the tie up. The 11-9 Reds.
The walks of the inning have come back to haunt the Dodgers. This base hit, the only one in the inning, by Paul Janisch, lands in front of Manny. Manny bare hands and throws to the plate. Not in time to get Bruce. Now they've got Janisch in a rundown. But there's nobody covering second base right here. And when Belliard looks at that, realizing there's no play at second, he's going to go ahead and think about throwing to home. By then, he drops the ball. It's too late. The Reds score 2 and have another one on second base.
11-9 Reds. Belliard, who was the change and came in at first base, dropped the ball to allow Hernandez to come all the way around. And Paul Janisch did what he was supposed to do, and that was, once he was in the rundown, occupy folks for a while. So Paul Janisch gets 1 RBI. So a single, 1 RBI. A 2-run score. 11-9 Reds. Well, that double switch paid off for the moment. Stubbs at the plate. Chris Dickerson. He's on the on-deck circle. Janisch at second. Stubbs still looking for his first base hit of the night and first in a while. His average is dipped to 150. Two outs. Troncoso. Strike. Dickerson is on deck to pinch hit where Mike Lincoln would come into the game in the last half inning would be due to him. Which would mean Francisco Cordero. See what Drew Stubbs, despite his recent struggles, has done in his career with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. 2-2, 1 out, or 2 out, 1 on. The Reds have taken an 11-9 lead. The Dodgers scored 4 times in the top of the 8th. The Reds so far have plated 2 in the bottom. Full count. Troncoso to Stubbs. Strike. Inning over. But a key base hit by Paul Janisch. 2 runs as a result of it. And the Reds with an 11-9 lead. Play of the game, and here it be. Orlando Cabrera, Joey Votto, slap tag, out recorded. That's our Home Depot doing more on defense. The Reds with an 11-9 lead as we move to the top of the 9th inning. Grow your very own Great American Ballpark turf. The first 20,000 fans in attendance on Saturday will receive a baseball-shaped pot containing a sample of new Great American Ballpark grass seed to grow your own turf. Thanks to Scott's. Get your tickets now at 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Chris Dickerson in the game now, playing left field for the Reds. And on is Francisco Cordero to try and close the door. First pitch called for a strike on Casey Blake. Grounded foul at third. Blake has been a contributor to the Dodger offense today.
That'll be nothing like a save right here for Francisco Cordero to erase the memory of the blown save and the loss sustained out in Pittsburgh when he pitched 2/3 innings, gave up a couple of runs in a ball game that the Reds thought they had in hand.
His first blown save of the year. Of course, the Reds trying to continue the pattern in their victories, doing what needs to be done in their last at-bats of the game. That has happened in the 5 previous victories. If things hold steady, that would be the case tonight. Blake takes inside. Casey Blake, a double and a triple and a pair of RBIs. (11-9). Reds with a lead. Again, it'll be tomorrow night, same time, same station. Count 2-2 on the Dodger third baseman. Count runs full. Aaron Harang, Hiroki Kuroda, the starters tomorrow night. Mike Leake, Vicente Padilla Thursday night at 7:10. Then it'll be the Reds and the Padres over the weekend. Friday night game and day games Saturday and Sunday. Blake pops one to right field where Jay Bruce chases to the foul line. One down.
Yeah, we talked earlier about Jeff Shaw a little bit. And he was a subject of our AT&T trivia quiz. And, of course, the young man, very nice man from right up the road in Washington Courthouse, always used to tell me as a closer, the first out, the most important guy you get.
Okay.
Makes it a lot easier after that. You get one out, nobody on base. Francisco can just rear back and kind of fog it on in there.
Well, Jeff would know. Blake DeWitt, the one-out hitter. DeWitt with a couple of base hits and an RBI. Cordero bringing some heat. What was notable about that blown save Saturday, the rest of the bullpen really seemed to kind of seal the deal for a while against the Pirates. So Dusty Baker's team hoping to get 2 more outs and end a 5-game skid. One and 2 with 1 out, bases empty. Pushes one foul. That Padres series over the weekend. Friday, Johnny Cueto, Kevin Correa. Saturday, Bronson Arroyo, Wade LeBlanc. Sunday, Homer Bailey and Clayton Richard. And then an off day a week from yesterday to get ready for another road trip. Houston and St. Louis. It stays alive with another foul. On deck, Russell Martin. Now this crowd has been rewarded. It's been a game that's been all over the road map. Dodgers scored 3 in the top of the first. Reds 6 in the bottom of the second. 1 more in the bottom of the third. 2 in the fourth. The Dodgers with 2 in the sixth. And then 4 in the eighth. The Reds scored 2 in the bottom of the eighth. to get us to 11-9 Cincinnati. Inside on DeWitt to run the count full. Cordero reading the sign from Hernandez. Called strike. Take a seat.
Not a bad at bat by Blake DeWitt, but he finally pulls, unable to pull the trigger on a pitch that's right on the corner. He thinks it might be a ball as he's halfway ready to chuck his bat and head to first base, but he'll be taking it with him.
Russell Martin swings and misses. Since 1920, most wins decided in last at-bat to start a season. If the Reds were able to do it tonight, they would tie the 1970 San Francisco Giants with 6. 0-1. Martin checks. Not in enough time. So the crowd on their feet with Cordero and the Reds needing one more strike with an 11-9 lead. I mentioned that the Dodgers will be here one more time this year. The Reds go to LA once this year, the weekend of August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. That's the only trip to Chavez Urine. 0-2, 2 out, bases empty. Cordero